We want to control everything.
Get yourself a deep breath. Get your mind right.
Depend on what we know. Predict what we can. Expect the unexpected. But sometimes, we can't. And so, we experience the uncomfort of chaos.
Easy, easy.
The pace quickens.
My heart rate's at 130 right now.
Pressure tightens.
This is about the time all hell breaks loose.
The magnitude of every twitch, each blink, and one lapse of judgment can cause this.
Trouble! Car hard in the wall!
Holy graveyard.
In a season of unpredictable outcomes,
8 winners in 9 races.
we now find ourselves at the most chaotic, uncertain stretch of asphalt possible. It's Talladega.
Welcome to the Geico 500 on Fox. This most unpredictable season comes to its most unpredictable racetrack. Where putting yourself in position to win is the hardest thing to do, because in 5 of the last 8 races, there's been a final lap pass for the lead. Ricky Stenhouse took the lead for the last time just after the start-finish line on the final lap, while Ryan Blaney, going into turn number 3, drove his number 12 to victory. Brad Keselowski up in the middle of turns 3 and 4 made the pass for the win. And Eric Almirola, much the same. Denny Hamlin did it a little differently, did it kind of Ron Bouchard style, right in the tri-oval, where the start-finish line would have been at Daytona, but then there's that big land rush to the line, and that's how it ended up. So welcome back to Talladega. We have no idea what's going to happen next, but we know it's going to be exciting, and you're going to love it. So, Clint, do you want to be the hunter? Do you want to be out front, or do you want to be maneuvering things from a position close enough to win?
Well, especially when you get down to the end of this thing, right? Because that's what it's all about. That last lap. Just said 5 of the last 8 times been a last lap passes. You don't want to be the hunter. You want to be the hunted. I want to be leading this race. I always want to be hunting.
And I want to go to the toolbox, because you got to have a lot of them here. You need to have patience. You need to have aggressiveness. You have to have an instinct of knowing when to make that move and when not to make that move. And then you've got to have great pit strategy, pit stops. You got to have it all. But the most important one might be that voice in your head. No, not the ones that are in Clint's head, but the voice of reason from the spotter on top of the roof that's going to give you all that valuable information to make the right move to avoid the big one or get to victory lane.
Well, you can plan all you want, but in February, the last time we were on one of NASCAR's 2 biggest super speedways, Team Penske was in position to have a 1-2 finish in the Daytona 500 with less than a mile to go. And then, as they say, all hell broke loose.
Well, let's talk to one of those Team Penske drivers, Brad Keselowski. Hey, Brad Keselowski, Jeff up in the booth here with the guys. How we doing today?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Brad, this is Jeff and Clint and Mike up in the Fox Sports booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. How you doing there, Jeff?
Yeah, I was just thinking about you, asking the same thing. I mean, Team Penske's so good at this racetrack and these styles of tracks. You have been in position to win a lot of them. You were in position in Daytona. Talk us through, how do you do this today? Do you want to be that leader, or do you want to be the one in second getting the big run?
Yeah, I think you're a sit duck if you're the leader on the last lap with this rules package, which is quite a bit different than, where it was before, Jeff. So, I think you want to be in one piece. That's the biggest thing. You can't win this race in the garage. So whatever you can do to make sure you're running on the last lap and in position, that's what matters.
Well, always exciting, and we're looking forward to seeing how you navigate through it. So good luck. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Jeff.
Brad Keselowski will start 10th. Let's meet our drivers with the Geico starting grid. Denny Hamlin won here last fall. He has earned the pole position due to a matrix of point standing, last race fastest lap and last race finish. Joey Logano, 3-time Talladega winner. Martin Truex Jr., 3 Xfinity wins here, and William Byron, top 10 in the last 7 races. Alex Bowman, last week's winner at Richmond, and Christopher Bell looking for a top 15 Superspeedway finish.
Yeah, in row 4, Ryan Blaney's won 2 of the last 3 here. Chase Elliott won in 2019. That's your row 4. Row 5, Kyle Busch, last Superspeedway win in 2008, but we just talked to him, 5-time winner here, Brad Keselowski.
Here we got Austin Dillon at famous number 3. Boy, we've seen a lot of magical moments out of that number. Outside of him, Kyle Larson. Next row, we got Eric Almirola and Matt Dinabetto. Both of these guys need a win, in my opinion, to make their way into the playoffs. Look for wild things out of these guys.
Row 8, Kurt Busch with a Daytona win in 2017, and Kevin Harvick won here in 2010. Ricky Stenhouse, 2-time Superspeedway winner, and Ross Chastain. In the 10th row, Daniel Suarez having a great year with a new team, and Tyler Reddick finished 7th here last fall, led in both of his Talladega starts. We're going to go to the lower ticker for the rest of our starting lineup and bring in our crew chief, Larry McReynolds, about some of the nuances of racing here on the fastest speedway on earth.
Yeah, Mike, because of the size of this track and the 33 degrees of banking in the corners, these drivers can run around this track wide open, never lifting off the throttle. That's why we'll see them 3 and 4 wide, 6 and 7 rows deep. But there's another thing that allows them to do that, so I want to go to our Ford Performance car, the aero animation, and show you about the draft, how it works. Now, you're going to see some air streamers. This is almost like being in a wind tunnel. You see the single cars, see that red? That's a lot of pressure. As those 2 cars start to approach, you're going to start to see the pressure change here and change here, but especially on this rear spoiler. As they get closer, you'll start to see the air streamers not even touch that second, third car. These 3 cars almost become like one car. It lowers the drag. You can run much faster. But, Mike, the caveat is that car leading is going to be using a lot more fuel than those other 2 he's pulling along.
Thanks, Larry. Ever since this track opened in 1969, it's been a place of surprise winners. Let's go to pit road, beginning with Regan Smith.
Well, Mike, the last time we were at a super speedway at Daytona for the 500, we had that surprise winner. It was Michael McDowell in the 34 car. The problem for this team, though, is when you win at Daytona, you lose that race car. Conventional wisdom would say bring that back with you. Unfortunately, that car is sitting in Daytona at Daytona USA still today. So what did they do? They took their teammate's race car, very similar build to that car that they won with. They will be running that car today instead. They feel like they're going to get more help from the other race cars out there as they try to make their way to the front. Jamie Little?
Well, Regan, on the flip side, you have the defending series champion, Chase Elliott, who has yet to go to victory lane after 9 attempts this year. But the good news for Chase Elliott fans, this place, Talladega, is a great place to turn things around for the 9 team. In the last 4 races, they finished in the top 10 3 times, including a win in 2019. They did bring back their Daytona car where they finished 2nd, but they made some improvements, they're hoping. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. You could win a year of dog brew. That's right. Just tweet hashtag Busch Dog Brew and hashtag sweepstakes anytime you see Kevin Harvick's car racing on TV. Yes, it's dog brew. Never thought I'd see the day, but there we are. Never thought I'd see the day we'd have an all-electric powered pace car at Talladega, but there it is, the all-new 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-E that leads the field. Now, late breaking news. All of the Toyotas except Kyle Busch will start in the back due to unapproved adjustments.
Look at this crowd, Jeff. Got them on their feet. Let's go racing.
They know what they're about to see.
So Alex Bowman moves from 5th up to the front row alongside Joey Logano, and that's how they'll start. Green flag at Talladega. Hendrick Camaro's 1st, 2nd, and 4th as William Byron and Joey Logano bring them to the line to complete lap 1. Now the 5 of Kyle Larson has dropped back. Why?
500, 315, rising quick.
Pull out and let it get some air. Pull out and let it get some air.
Well, that's awfully early to be having some issues. Is he getting to that inside lane because he wants to come to pit road, that they've got a bigger issue causing that water tip to spike?
You would almost think, Jeff, I right along with you on that thought process. As fast as it got hot, it didn't even have time to get 315, I wouldn't think.
Logano trying to hold everybody off 3 wide through the tri-oval.
5 car is definitely pitting right here. Yeah, they've got an issue.
Remember, no practice, no qualifying. The cars have not been on track. He reports water temp is now 255.
But no, I thought
No.
355.
355.
I'm not seeing any steam kind of where it's, you know, losing
Yeah, it could
water.
be a gauge
is it
issue.
a gauge issue?
Usually
No
when it's that high,
question. If
you
it got that hot that quick, I would be questioning the gauge.
yeah, 100% without a geyser coming out of it.
I'll tell you what I'm questioning is how aggressive these guys are being right from the drop to green. We saw almost a little contact between William Byron as he tried to take the lead from Joey Logano. But these guys, they are bump drafting already at almost 200 miles per hour.
What I see is a formulation of all these Fords on the outside right now. You got the Penske and the Stewart-Haas boys all on the outside.
7 Fords in a row in that outside lane.
And I mean, there's no surprise here. In my opinion, we know that if you can have a teammate, if you can have more drafting partners and friends out there, there's all kinds of benefits. So all these manufacturers have found ways to work with their teams and try to find a way to build the numbers to their advantage.
Oh, certainly right, and that's what you're seeing with those Fords, is stacking a lot of those Fords up, you know, and there's other manufacturers. You know, the Toyota camp doesn't have as many cars in their camp. So what do you do, Jeff? How do you formulate that to try to piggyback off of some of these guys that with the Chevrolet camp and the Ford camp and their strength in numbers, as you said?
I think the Toyotas felt like they had a good game plan coming into it until they all went to the back of the field.
Went to the back.
Bubba Wallace has moved up 31 positions after starting dead last 40th. Let's update the Toyota situation for you. All of those cars passed inspection. Out on the start line, NASCAR officials noted something they did not like in the contouring of the A post, the windshield pillar on the driver's side, and the space between it and the rear view mirror. So they're cited for unapproved adjustments, and all had to start out back, with the exception of Kyle Busch's 18.
Wow, big block right there. You heard him have to bail out of the gas right there. That's how fast those momentum and your runs happen. You saw Denny Hamlin, he caught him, and as soon as he caught him, he had to bail out of the gas and probably all over the brakes.
And then gave a big push to the rear bumper of the 48 of Alex Bowman. By the way, birthday boy Alex Bowman here today. He's having a pretty good week coming off that win in Richmond and birthday this weekend in Talladega.
Kyle Larson, you see on the apron, just came off pit road. I don't believe he'll be able to sniff the draft of the lead cars, and he is now at least 2 laps down.
So now you're starting to see you got Chevrolets and Toyotas. So is that a part of the game plan where Toyotas saying, hey, we're going to work with these Chevrolets, or was it just circumstances? You already see when that outside line gets single file and they start running the top lane and 2 to 3 cars back of that leader, follow that top lane, it's going to stay single file until we can get a lot of cars in that inside lane.
Well, and Jeff, you set it up at the beginning of the show. How do you get to the end of this race? You have to survive. How do you survive? You get up there with all of your camp in your organization and your manufacturer. Try to ride around the outside of this thing, get it single file to where you can stay out of trouble.
Except for, look at Bubba Wallace leading this line of cars. We've seen a lot of cars jump from that outside lane to that inside lane, starting to make some momentum and get to the front here.
So the fast line has moved to the top of the racetrack. Kyle Busch's observation.
Majority up top, out back as well.
Like, so 2 laps ago, I saw it happening. Did you not see it happening?
Yeah, several.
Right. I mean, if you sense it, see it, feel it, gotta do it. You know what I mean? Like, we were sucking on the bottom.
Well, I hope he sensed that it was going to change real quick because that outside lane has been broken up, and now the inside.
no.
Man, Kyle Larson, Regan.
Well, Jeff, to update Kyle Larson's situation, you see the engine right there. He came on the radio, said it is blowing up. But when they came down pit road the first time, there is a sheet of metal that was in between the radiator and where the air comes into the race car. Looks like that may have got left in there over transportation.
Wow. I've seen that on a dirt program. You know, we've done that. You use the shield to help warm the cars up so it doesn't get any air in it. You're trying to get some temperature and oil and things like that. If you forget to take that out, that's exactly what can happen.
Well, that's a huge mistake, and that is part of not having practice, right? When you show up here, you've got to have that checklist to make sure you get every single detail for that car to line up and get on pit road to start this race.
How about Kevin Harvick bringing that inside line to the front? So much so that Joey Logano had to come down to stop its march forward, or he would have lost the lead.
And moved down and actually broke up that Ford camp that was lined up there. He was running in the 3rd or 4th position in that line, moved down and blocked Bubba's line, like you said. And now he's competing for running up front.
So now what does Joey Logano do, right? He's got a teammate behind him, but he sees that Ford of Kevin Harvick coming up the inside lane. Will he have to start working both of these lanes to try to keep them both behind him?
I think that's exactly what he's going to do, and is exactly what he's the best at, in my opinion. Joey Logano is one of the best in this field right now of blocking and knowing what runs are coming and which one to get in front of.
Ryan Preece coming up the outside as Joey Logano leads after 9 laps in Talladega. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Tastes unbelievably delicious. 12 laps complete. We have a new leader. From worst to first, Bubba Wallace started this race 40th under penalty and has now driven his way to the front, pulling a train of cars behind him on the short way around on the inside.
Well, he made some great moves, a lot of aggressive moves, has a fast race car, obviously comfortable at this racetrack, and he got to that outside lane, but what he did such a great job of, he actually got down in front of Kevin Harvick, who was leading that inside lane. That's what pushed him to the lead.
And here's how Brad Keselowski got stuck in the middle, going backwards.
Nobody's handling very well, and that makes the middle slow. So just keep that in the bank.
Copy.
Keselowski coming back on the outside. Now he's the first car in that outside line. Here's your Geico race analysis. 188 laps, stage 1 and 2, 60 each. The final stage is a bit longer. And the fuel window 36 to 42 laps. Competition caution 12 laps from now. Jamie.
An update on Bubba. I talked to his crew chief Mike Wheeler on pit road right before the start of the race, and he said, remember Speed Weeks, the Daytona 500 was our first race as an organization, and we were fast. They had a loose wheel, so they didn't get the result to show for it, but they came in with a lot of confidence today, Mike, and he's showing it back to the front. He doesn't even have any allies around him from Toyota.
No, that's true. Christopher Bell in 9th is the next Toyota. Kyle Busch in 13th. Truex in 15th. Who do you like, Clint, right now?
I like that communication I heard about the cars aren't handling. That's what I like, but I like it because I'm sitting up here. When you're out there and them things are not handling and that guy's on, you know, right on your tail, like you see Brad Keselowski in the 4 car right here, let me tell you something. That takes you for a ride that you're kind of saying thank you, but if he pulls off of you, you're just okay with that as well.
Lead change here. Kevin Harvick getting that big push from Brad Keselowski to take the lead away from Bubba Wallace. You know, you don't think of Talladega as being a handling racetrack. We think of Daytona, we think of a lot of other tracks, but Clint and I were actually out on that racetrack yesterday and put our hand on this surface. It is one of the most abrasive surfaces, so not totally surprised. Hot sunny day here at Talladega. Some bump drafting going on that these cars are handling, are having some handling issues.
Caught us both off guard. It really did. Very porous, you know, and we would thought when they repaved this thing, honestly, I thought it was the smoothest track I've ever been on in my life. We got out there, and that porousness is like a cheese grater to these tires. That's going to make them wear out. The sun baking down on this. These guys are going to have their hands full.
Now, there's quite a threesome of drivers known to be aggressive. Bubba Wallace in the 23, Michael McDowell, the Daytona 500 winner, in that yellow 34, slicing down right in front of Ross Chastain in the 42.
He's a Daytona 500 winner, Mike. He's got confidence. Yeah, and he's got Ross Chastain, too.
But I heard
another
you
aggressive driver.
Say, and it's such a good point, when you win that Daytona 500, that car has to stay in the museum. It made me think of the movies, right? The heist or something where you could sneak in there, steal your own car out of there, replace it, maybe put it back at a later date. But maybe that's what they did. I don't know. Somebody needs to check on that. Fast hot rod for sure. Man, I see a lot of blocking, a lot of pushing. You know, those are all going to compile until the end of these runs, and moreover at the end of this race for some pretty wild moments.
But you see there with Michael McDowell, he made that aggressive move. He had a big run, and he had somebody locked to his rear bumper. But as he made that move, it took and formed 2 lanes above him, and now he's a bit of a sitting duck that's probably going to go backwards here because he's lost all that help.
Well, that's where the chess match comes in. Yes, you can get that push, and it might get you to the lead, Mike, but if you don't have an avenue to create and keep that momentum and keep a car on your tail, you're in trouble, and you're going to go straight to the back, just like you see.
Yeah, with only 2 cars in that inside lane together, they were 6 miles an hour slower than the cars in the top lane.
You know, Jeff and Clint, I am amazed at how much these guys are out of the throttle that's back there in the pack right now.
Kevin Harvick led 17 laps in the Daytona 500. This is only the 2nd race he has led this year. 21 laps complete. Here's today's Ford Performance track facts. The Blue Ovals won 10 of the last 13 races at Talladega. 3 apiece for Brad and Joey. 2 for Ryan Blaney, plus Almirola and Stenhouse. Still a very busy pack at the front. Bubba Wallace went up to block the top lane, and Kyle Busch led the bottom lane to the lead.
But look at these Toyotas, how well formed. They started in the back, not Kyle Busch, but all the others. Now they're all together, and they're in the top 5. Those are fast machines, and these guys are being very aggressive, have a lot of confidence at this racetrack.
Logano's 22, trying to squirt out of the middle like toothpaste out of a tube and join that front 5, but it's not going to happen.
And a lot of what you're seeing right now, too, as you're seeing these guys, you've seen a little bit of everything, right? You've seen teammates working, manufacturers working. Now you see the Toyotas, just like you said, going to the front. This is the time in the race where you got to put your car in a position. Bubba going to the front from dead last. You have to at least know what your car is capable of doing, because, A, when this caution comes out, you need to be able to make adjustments and get that behind you and be down that path early in the race. And then when it comes down, push comes to shove at the end of this thing, you know what you have.
Well, and the Toyota's in that position could have very easily said, Leon, we're in the back, let's stay in the back. But that's not at all their game plan. Here's Brad Keselowski right now. He lost the draft. He's back in 18th. I don't know if he's just decided to kind of pivot. He was up front being aggressive with his other teammates. And now remember, yeah, and he tells us he wants to be, or told you want to be in top 5 all day, right?
That's a great
not the
point,
case.
but it's still early in the race. You got to figure out how to survive. How do you do that? In my opinion, you find a hole and hide.
Now they'll come to the caution after lap 25 is completed, this time by. For the competition caution, Kyle Busch is going to lead them to that in front of Christopher Bell, Martin Truex, and Denny Hamlin. A group of cars, about 8 of them, hanging well back off the lead.
Not till the caution comes out yet, though. Caution will come out soon.
So we're working lap 25, then we'll see the yellow. Fastest laps of the race, the 2 JTG Doherty Camaros. Ricky Stenhouse at 202.3. Ryan Preece at 200.3 miles per hour.
202.
Look at this push. Denny Hamlin and his teammate Kyle Busch right there, all over him. You see the cow flaps are flapping, roof flap right there in the Kyle's arrow. You think arrow's a big deal at 200 mile an hour? You're seeing it firsthand right there.
That fast lap for Stenhouse was as he was catching the lead pack at lap 18. He's now right in the midst of them in 12th place. NASCAR will let this pack cycle through the start-finish line. And now the yellow is out.
Put it out. This is going to be competition caution.
That was a soft put it out. It'll be a bigger one later, I can promise you that.
Yeah, the air buffeting over the hood of Denny Hamlin's number 11 Toyota. I mean, that air, when your front bumper is glued to the rear bumper of the car in front of you, it's like a vacuum trying to suck that hood right off the race car.
All right, you have even more chances to win today because you've got Clint's game for $25,000, the Stage 2 contest, and all entries will be entered into a blind draw for this Camping World RV. So there's 25 grand at stake and this Camping World RV. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 app for free and answer 6 questions about Stage 2 for your shot to win.
I tell you what, I saw a couple kids out there and somebody, either they're borrowed, I stole, I don't know how they got this camper, but they might need a new one. It's going to be a pile of ashes by the time this weekend's over with. I sure hope they're in the running for it. $25,000 to win. Stage
Clint,
2.
I know you don't spend a lot of time in the Talladega infield, but there are a lot of sofas that come here and never leave.
I ain't too sure. Some RVs that got towed in and might have a plane to leave here. I'd say a lot of stuff stays here, including.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too good.
Now that's a nice one.
Not leaving
that's
that.
not what I was talking about. They've got their stuff together right there. These kids. Now we're talking. That's Talladega.
Yep. So let's hear from Larry Mack on today's Credible.com race strategy.
Yeah, Mike, as you noted, the fuel window is about 36 to 42 laps. And this competition caution here at lap 25, that kind of takes care of stage 1. But those final 2 stages, everybody has to pit at least once for fuel. What I'm hearing is once the window opens to make it to the end, they'll be coming to pit road, but you have to coordinate this with other teams to pit together. And normally each manufacturer, they'll work together to pit together. This is always tough though, Mike, on that Toyota camp. There's only 7 Toyotas total in the entire field.
And so, Larry, my question is, we heard some drivers talking about handling. If they decide to just come in and splash of fuel in right side tires, you know, is that going to have a big effect on how that car handles?
I'd get me 4 right now.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out. Jamie.
Certainly a lot of drivers talking about the handling of their race cars. The 22 with Joey Logano in the last pit box on pit road. Stiff in the back and a little loose overall. Track bar adjustment down, air pressure adjustment, a 4-tire stop. Meanwhile, the 23 of Bubba, he's already led 6 laps today. They were going for right sides only and a wedge adjustment for the 23, Regan.
Was your leader. That race car got free as he ran. Having trouble here in his spotter as well. The 11 of Danny Hamlin, happy with his race car right now.
Your Ram race off pit road has Ryan Blaney gaining 9 spots, and Harrison Burton in his NASCAR Cup debut removes equipment from the pit box and from pit road, and they'll have to go get it. Competition caution, pit stop's done. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Ford. Built Ford proud. So the competition caution, that's what we're in. What's it like trying to get out of your pits? Ride with Bubba Wallace and see. You get up to speed, you figure you got your spot, you're all in good shape. Whoops, traffic, no blinker, no brake lights.
Little lock up.
Now, when you're in a hurry, you can make mistakes. Harrison Burton's fueler did not get the can disconnected, and he dragged it down the length of pit road. Martin Truex, too fast exiting his pit. Broke the speed limit, so he'll start in the back. And so will Ryan Preece. His crew was over the wall too soon.
On a track like this, though, you want to make those mistakes early. If you're Martin Truex and his team, that's no harm, no foul. You're going to make that mistake. You're going to make the appropriate adjustments. Go to the back, take your foul, and move up back through the field.
Josh Bilicki got the free pass on this caution. Jamie?
Well, Mike, when it comes to this style of racing, we talk about the side mirrors, the rear view mirror all race long. Well, Bubba Wallace is having trouble with his.
On the track, or if it's cloud coverage, but that time when the 4 got to the outside of us, I couldn't see him until he was quarterback. And as the next lap coming through, I could see all the way back to Concord. So I don't know if it's just cloud coverage messing with us right there, like right now.
Yeah, I think for that, it's a little bit of communication, getting your communication down, making sure that you guys are on the same page of that, you know, blind spot is what he's talking about. But for me, last year when we went to these tracks without practice, that was something that really bothered me. You know, almost every practice, Jeff, after or within, I was working on my mirrors, making some, you know, subtle, some fine-tuning adjustments with the angle, and making sure that I had it down pat. You don't have that option right now with no practice. It makes it a challenge for sure.
Brad Keselowski actually went to the Penske shop and spent half a day there, sitting in his seat, setting his mirrors and getting everything adjusted for this race today at Talladega, something he usually doesn't do on a weekly basis. Here they come to the Geico restart zone, which is right where the start-finish line would be at Daytona. Not so here at Talladega. So McDowell and Harvick up top, that didn't quite work out well. And where's Joey Logano, who came into the pits third? They had a bad pit stop, and he restarted back about 18th. He's on the inside, about 9 cars back.
One thing I've seen so far in this race, Mike, it is no problem passing.
No.
So, you know, you hate to lose that track position. You want to stay up in the front to maybe have a safer race, even though I don't know if there's any place that's totally safe at this racetrack. But I do see where cars are able to get in line, maybe go 3 wide, get that momentum, and actually move their way back to the front.
It brings up a great point, too, because I don't see the teams working together quite like I have in years past. And I think it's because of what you just said. The runs are too quick, they're too fast, and you have to do your own thing. It's going to be interesting to keep track of that and see if that plays out at the end of this.
And Denny Hamlin right now, we talked about Joey Logano when he was leading. Now Denny's going to have to be super aggressive, working both lanes, try to stay. Hopefully that inside lane with his teammate Kyle Busch will be the preferred lane, will continue to move forward. Jamie?
Well, Clint, Jeff, you're wondering why we're not seeing the pushes and the runs that we typically do. Well, the 2 of Brad Keselowski just told his team, these cars out here are just handling so bad that nobody can run together for very long. There's just too much instability there, and that's one of the reasons why they opted to take 4 tires there.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that as many Toyotas took 2 as they did. Of course, if you're Denny Hamlin, you say, hey, we'll take 2 because we'll be out front and have clean air. Look at all the jockeying positions going back and forth. Bubba moving up to that middle lane. You got Blaney moving all the way to the top lane in front of Chase Elliott.
But you said it. The one thing you don't want to do if you took 2 tires is lose that track position. You're going to have to fend off. You're going to have to be more aggressive in your mirrors and the blocking and things like that, because you need all the air you can on your race car for grip.
Hamlin by a car length. Kyle Busch second. William Byron third. Here comes Keselowski leading a group back toward the front on the outside.
Boy, we haven't talked about one thing. This is your first time doing a race up here in the booth at Talladega. How's it feel? Are you happy to be up here, or would you still rather be down there?
You know, the nerves and what the feeling that comes over your body when you're in this race is just different. It just is than a Martinsville or short track, any other track we go to, and that, you can't replace that feeling. It is fun up here, and it's a lot safer up here.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something, we're not very smart as race car drivers anyway, and it sure was fun to be out there and have that feeling.
Well, your former teammate Eric Almirola has a feeling, and it's a bad vibration. He has fallen to the back of the field in his number 10.
Oh, those usually don't fix themselves right off of a pit stop either.
Boy, look at that. The Toyota's ganging up on Brad Keselowski, but now Brad's going to move up and get some help from his teammate. Both of his teammates. You got Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano.
And what's interesting strategy, Keselowski and the 2, Logano on the 22, they did 4 tires. Blaney did just 2 in that 12.
Well, that was a gutsy move right there by Denny Hamlin to move up in front of that lane that was coming strong from Brad Keselowski.
And we're told that the call for 4 tires for Logano was made late, and that's why they had a long stop.
Oh, wasn't ready for it. Had to go back and probably get those tires off the wall or something.
All right, there's Bubba Wallace in the middle. Let's listen to his spotter for a bit here, Freddie Kraft.
Trying to get that single file top look to it. Be ready. Halfback 20s up top there. Still there, still 9 and 3 with you. Still there, bottom. Still there. There's a little hole behind the 1 here. 1 car length. Can't clear right there. Halfback, bumper. He's there.
So what you hear him doing right there is trying to find him a hole to get out of that middle.
Well, that's a lonely feeling when you hear that outside lane starting to form and you've got 2 cars behind you.
And that was a hint. That's where this chemistry that we're talking about, spotter driver, you have to have that chemistry and be on the same page. He was telling him, hey, you need to they're forming that outside. It looks like it's going to be prevailing. Get your butt up there.
But what I like what is happening right here for Bubba is you see Denny Hamlin come back down to the side draft of that inside lane. That's actually made that outside lane go to the middle lane and help Bubba Wallace maintain.
Man, I see Brad Keselowski being able to push a lot harder. I mean, obviously you see William Byron on the 18, but not like Brad. Man, he is able to push hard, and when it comes down to the end of this thing, you're going to have that.
Well, he's comfortable. He knows who he's pushing to. Denny Hamlin's a guy that's very comfortable being pushed. That's 2 guys that have a lot of experience drafting and working together over all the years. Not to mention, we've talked about many times, the front of the Ford Mustang is very flat, and that allows that car to be a very good pusher.
NASCAR has required all the teams to install what they call slip tape on the rear bumper of every car so that those bumpers won't lock, so that they'll slide easier when there's contact. Update on Almirola, he says the vibration is through the seat and the shifter, meaning it's likely driveline or a rear tire, a rear wheel out of balance, or a lug nut issue.
As long as it's not getting worse, you just kind of deal with it. But Mike, you talked about that slip tape. It'll be grip tape by the end of this race.
Good point. 38 laps complete, 60 will end stage 1. Denny Hamlin leading. The Xfinity More Than Fast moment from Richmond goes to Denny Hamlin's lights out pit crew, who helped Denny win the first 2 stages, proving it takes more than speed to succeed. Vote for this week's More Than Fast moment at Xfinity Racing on Twitter. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Under caution at 40 laps complete in Talladega. We're going to ride along with Corey LaJoie in the Fox and Friends number 7. And off in the distance, down on the inside, Joey Gase is about to have a big problem.
Yeah, you can see he drops out of that outside lane because he clearly has either a tire going down or some kind of a failure, and that car starts to spin around. Pretty amazing that Corey LaJoie didn't make contact, or any of the other drivers that were behind him.
Now, Gase not driving his usual 53. That is a Davey Allison tribute paint scheme right down to the car number. And I'll let the crew chief for Davey Allison, Larry Mack, explain what's going on there.
Yeah, Mike, it's so cool. Joey ran this paint scheme yesterday in Xfinity Series, today in the Cup race, and to your point, it truly has the 28 number. This is a paint scheme like we ran in the early 90s, including the win here in 1992 with Davey Allison in that 28 car. This is going to be, Davey actually won here 3 times. He won here as a rookie in 1987. It was his very first career win. That's the same race that his dad took out all of the catch fence early in the race. But a 3-time winner here in the spring. This was another win for him here in 1992, in the spring of 1992. And the biggest thing is they're paying tribute and trying to get people to register to be an organ donor.
Thanks, Larry. Left sides for Bubba Wallace as Kevin Harvick led a group of cars onto pit road, where they just were about 13 laps prior. So the top 24 chose not to pit. So up on the main building, oh, these folks in the infield, they're having a big time with, who's that, Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott.
Yes!
All right.
You only get this in Talladega, Mike.
I'll tell you, there is a costume award that needs to be presented to some of these folks.
All right.
They have some great ones.
So from the infield, if you look back at the main grandstand and the building on top of where we sit, in great big letters there, it says, "This is Talladega." And the reason is, when you wake up in that infield on Sunday morning, you can go, oh, that's where we are. So here, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear for those that push the limits of possibility. Goodyear, more driven. There's the Geico restart zone. And they're on it. Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski bring you back to green.
You off, still outside, 2 back to the 22, get the push to the 24, it's going to be hard here. 1 back 22, half, right on.
That's Josh Williams,
right,
Ryan Blaney's spotter.
Still outside corner, you're clear, 22 is not, it helps still with the 22 on the bottom, 22 is still not clear, still half back to the top. Still half to the top, back outside now, outside. Outside corner, you're clear, the 2 is help us 1 off. 22 is still not clear. He's pulling him off of you by 1, 2 back to both lanes. 2 back to both lanes, 2's and nose ahead out by 1. 22's helps coming hard. Still 1 back both lanes, 22's gonna get a harder push.
Why do we highlight spotters when we come to Talladega and Daytona? Right there, you just heard it, how hard at work they are. And we're only 45 laps into this 188 lap race.
3 wide mid-pack. 3 Team Penske cars under a blanket right at the front. After the Daytona 500 and the last lap melee, Roger Penske said, usually we let our drivers kind of take care of each other until 10 laps to go, and then it's every man for himself. He said, after seeing the finish, I think we need to rethink that.
He saw a Daytona 500 victory go away because they could have very possibly decided it amongst themselves. But hey, you can't take the competitor out of a driver wanting to win.
4th place, William Byron.
That 18 loose over in 2. No, I thought he was pretty stuck. Honestly, I just couldn't get a run. Yeah, I need the guy behind me to always be pushing off the corner so I can generate that run to him, but sometimes I guess they can't do it. Yeah, so that was happening with the 4 giving a killer boost to the 17, so that 4 is very strong.
That's the voice of Tad Boyd, the spotter for William Byron. Great information there. I mean, passes happen because of the momentum gets created from the cars behind you. They push that air that allows that air to come over your spoiler and give you a big surge. That's where the momentum comes from. Doesn't come from looking out the windshield, what's happening in front of you.
Now you see a little chain reaction of bump drafting. Keep your eye on William Byron in this replay in the 24. He gives Joey Logano a little boost. He gets to the back of Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell gets to the back of him, and so on.
And that's the accordion effect. We talk about bump drafting, and that will intensify as we get further into this race, to the end of the stages, to the end of this race. And that goes from being a nice subtle bump to a big hit, and usually causes a wreck.
And again, want to put it back on a spotter. It's very important that he knows, because you can't see around that car in front of you. He needs to tell you, hey, all right, 2 car lengths, 1 car length, half car length, he's on him left, so you can lift and not push him through that car in front of him.
Exactly, because if William Byron had pushed, right there and put, I think it was Joey Logano, and put his front bumper up against his teammate Ryan Blaney and didn't back off of it, now he's a sandwich and has no control of his race car. And you're right, those are the kind of communication that you have to have as a driver to understand what's happening through the windshield in front of you.
Let's go back to 12th place and Kurt Busch. Jamie?
Well, Kurt Busch was having some issues. He kept bottoming out in the left rear, and he kept saying something's wrong with it. Well, they brought it down on lap 41. They put 4 tires on it, figured out they had a track bar mount issue. They were able to fix it, and he drove from 36th all the way up to 12th, where he's shuffling around right now. He's actually in 14th. Did it in about 4 laps, guys.
Oh, you can get to the front. It's what are you going to do when you get there?
Go backwards again.
So we took a look at the records of a number of the spotters up on the roof. Since 2014, who has the most wins? Chris Lambert with 9, TJ Majors with 8, Tab Boyd. Got a big gap back to Josh Williams and Eddie DeHaan, and their cars are right up front.
4. And by the way, look at our top 4 or 5 cars here. I mean, we talked about, we power rank the pit crews, we power rank the drivers, we power rank the teams. Well, let me tell you, when we come to Talladega, you better power rank those spotters. I love that graphic.
Absolutely. All right, how about Joey Logano's spotter as he pushed Ryan Blaney to the lead?
Forrest thinking about the second lane. He keeps laying back, getting big runs. I'll let you know if something happens. All right, Forrest making the second lane work. He took a big run here. Still 5 cars clear in your mirror. 24, 20, 41, 48 clear with you. Are pulling the inside lane apart as they get to them, though, so I'll let you know. When they get to that 20 car, which is 2 behind you, that's when it's going to start to be a factor. Just got to watch them. They don't pounce before us if you want it. Whatever you want to do.
That is a lot of information to process while you're trying to drive 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a novel.
Yeah.
I don't need you to talk faster, just less words, man.
I usually just pick apart the words that I want to hear or need to hear.
Oh, 100%.
Ryan Blaney leads with 10 laps to go in stage 1. We'll keep it right here, and you'll see it in Fox side by side. Matt DiBenedetto in front of Ryan Blaney with 6.5 to go in stage 1. That's Kevin Harvick on the inside.
And that's
Ryan
Blaney.
Preece
Well, I was going to say that's Ryan Preece behind him, but Ryan Blaney on the outside that did a huge move from the outside down to side draft and stall that momentum for Kevin Harvick.
And this is what I love about stage racing. If they play a role at anything, it's these super speedways. Honestly, Jeff, I don't know why they race so hard for these points, because it's so hard. We do nothing but talk about survival and getting to the end. Then you talk about a stage and it's, look, 3 wide, everybody going for it as if it's the last lap of the race. And that's what I love about it.
23 cars in that lead pack.
And 3 by 3 by 3.
And the tires are worn out. Don't forget that.
I mean, I kind of understand the importance of getting the stage win and those stage points and a potential playoff point. But if I'm not going to have a shot at winning this stage, then I'm not going to take all the risk and chances that these guys further back are.
In the pre-race, you told me you have a 90% chance of wrecking.
Yes.
I am not going to do it on stage 1. 3 wide.
And Ryan Preece leads this lap in his Camaro. You know what? I was disappointed in you guys in the pre-race that you left out the very important part about all those people throwing the cans at you when you won. Most of those cans were full.
Oh, yeah.
What a waste of good beer. Jamie.
Well, you talk about the 37er Ryan Preece coming into this race. He said, we're going to do exactly what we did at Daytona. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm out here to win. I'm out here to get points. You're not safe anywhere out here, so why give up points? Let's go for it. That's exactly what they're doing right now.
A lot of blocking right here. A lot of really aggressive pushing. I like what I see out of Ryan Preece leading this pack right here. He needs these stage points. Very crucial points for him.
Well, and to me, that's where the risk is worth taking. When you have nothing else to lose, you know, when you have to have those points. I mean, even in Eric Almirola, right, we know he needs a win, but he really needs points. So those types of guys, and like Ryan Preece, this stage right now is an opportunity to really gain. So I get it. Some people can take the risk. Some can't.
This is where it gets interesting as they're going 3 wide right here. Where you get into lap traffic right here with LaJoy on the bottom. It starts to get really, really compressed as you're trying to make those passes. And this is what happens and how a wreck happens.
Well, here's another one that needs those points. Matt DiBenedetto.
If he's going to race his way into the playoffs, this is how he's going to do it. You're going to have to stack playoff points quick.
How about this? 2 drivers out front, both looking for their first career win. And that's happened, what, 8 or 9 times here at Talladega. A driver's got his first, and in many of those cases, only career win right here.
Well, if this season continues to be as unpredictable as it has been so far, then we're in for a treat of who might go to victory lane today.
11 drivers have their first career victory here. And for 6 of those, it was their only career cup win.
So here you go, Mike. You've got 3 wide. Jeff, which line you want to be in? Some of them are by choice. The other one's by desperation. You're trying to win, trying to get track position and do the best you can do. This outside line is deteriorating out there with Martin Truex. You got teammates without help. That's going to the back.
Right now, I'm happy if I'm Matt DiBenedetto, because I've got, even though they're not a Penske teammate, it's an organization we have an alliance with, and they're right behind me. I got 2 of them that are committed to me.
4 Fords right there on the bottom.
Right now, I'm happy if I'm leading my lane, because that means there's less opportunity to get into trouble in these last 2 laps.
And they all, by the way, the lanes you talked about just changed about 3 times on the back straightaway.
Kind of cycled out right there, thinned out. All it takes is one little block, get them jumbled up. Everybody kind of gets nervous.
Oh, and it takes one Kyle Busch to step out of line.
And then it'll go right back to 3 wide.
Now, not only first race win, but with 1 lap to go in stage 1, Matt DiBenedetto is looking for his first ever stage win.
So that's exactly what we were talking about. He was pushing him, couldn't see there. They moved up to take a block. He had to check up, stacked him up, and almost wrecked him.
Yeah, that was almost big between Kyle Busch and his teammate Denny Hamlin. And now look at Kyle Busch go backwards because of that.
And he did. He went backwards because he chose the
right. Oh, Denny's
wrecking. Joey Logano.
Hamlin and Logano. And Keselowski.
He's in it.
Boy, it's just scary. Anytime that air gets underneath that car, gets it airborne like that, Thankful to see that car get back on 4 wheels and not have a
moving around. Grabbing the window net there. That's a good sign.
Great sign. Look how it almost peeled that roof back.
Oh, heavy damage to Ricky Stenhouse, who had a fast car today.
Well, we talk about how aggressive some of these guys get at the end of these stages.
So the stage ends under caution. Logano was called in on the radio saying he is okay. So
and look how they're all stacked up. They're all bumper to bumper to bumper.
Yeah, but look at the 11. He moves down to try to go on the bottom, gets turns him into the Joey Logano. And then, Jeff, we've all felt it. That silence. When that car goes over, it gets really, really quiet. Not a fun sound.
And you have no idea if that car is just going to start rolling and continuing to roll, or if it's going to settle down. Luckily, that's what it did.
Let's use the Goodyear aerial coverage, see if we can see how this started.
Okay, so there's the push of the 22 by the 11. Watch the 47 get to the rear bumper of the 11. Right here, that's that sandwich we talk about. And when Denny stepped out, the 47 was still connected. And that little bit of contact is what turned Denny into the 22 of Logano.
Just a lot of pushing, very aggressive, accordion effect all the way back.
End of stage 1. Whew. Under caution. There is Joey Logano's Penske Mustang being hauled back to the garage. Let's take a few more looks at what happened here on the last lap of stage 1. Watch the 11 and the 47.
You see the 11 get in Joey, and a huge push right here as he gets to the bumper of Blaney. That's when it starts accordion. And it looks like finally Denny had enough, was going to try to move to the bottom, and just got turned around, turned right into Joey Logano. And away he went.
I tell you what, Clint, and you see a little bit of damage to the tube. Brad Keselowski, as he gets a little contact there. This goes back to those conversations from Daytona. Those 3 Penske cars, and you can include the Wood brothers in that, they wanted to stay nose to tail to end this stage. They did not, because Joey could have very easily jumped out of the line there. He had the run. He had the momentum.
And I tell you, looking back on the 11 car at Denny right there, if he wouldn't have hit Joey Logano, he would have been wrecked and out of the race.
You saw Chase Briscoe come down track trying to miss Logano, and he turned Keselowski right along.
This doesn't even seem real to me. This is like a video game.
Real to Bubba. Woo! Real close. Look out.
Wow. Ricochets off that rear window.
And very little damage to the 23, however. Just a little bit peeling up there on the roof and the right windshield post.
So I can have that sitting on the lot. Slick one owner, just a little bit of damage. What happened right here? Hey. Joey Logano landed on me.
Only driven on Sunday for 200 miles. Well, here's Team 23.
Your in-car is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
he's like, listen, I experienced it in real life. I know how impressive it was.
I believe Corey LaJoie is the free pass. Ricky Stenhouse has already made several stops. Matt DiBenedetto won the stage as he comes into his pit box. Jamie.
And Matt DiBenedetto just led his first laps of the entire season, so good run for him there. Just a little bit loose on that number 21 Ford. Meanwhile, the 9 of Chase Elliott, he didn't say anything about his car. He just said, man, that felt like we were racing at the end of the race, not the end of stage 1, Regan.
Well, you see the 12 car, Ryan Blaney, coming slowly down pit road. That race car ran out of fuel as they were coming through turn 4, so he's going to coast to his pit stall. Denny Hamlin, the biggest concern there, the body looked good to them. They were taking a look at pictures as we were under caution. No other changes.
Here's the Ram race off pit road. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher. The first one's off. They will not be the leaders, however, because 8 cars did not stop. They're still looking for the vibration on Eric Almirola's car. It was not a loose wheel or an unbalanced wheel. Still a problem there.
Let's dial up on Matty D, see if he's got us here. Hey, Matty D, it's Boyer up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you.
How about you, stage winner, man? I would think you need those. Congratulations on that. How's the track as far as grip, and how's your hot rod?
Man, the Motorcraft Quick Lane Ford, you know how the Fords run here, Clint. They're really good. It's fast, so that's good. Man, with the sun out, though, it's the handling, grips, a bit more of an issue than I thought, so we had to come in and work on it a little bit. So proud of the team. Glad we got some points. That's good. Hopefully we can keep it clean the rest of the day.
Heck yeah, man. Keep racking them up. Congrats. Go get you another one. We'll see you at the end.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
63 laps complete in Talladega. Matt DiBenedetto, stage 1 winner. Mountain Dew is giving away $1 million to fund outdoor passes and support outdoor organizations. Fans will have the chance to instantly win $25 to fuel their outdoor passion. All you need to do is upload a photo of your outdoor pass or license for your chance to win at DoOutdoorsStimulus.com. So how did that wreck happen? Let's ride along first. Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Denny's getting a big push from behind with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And I don't know if he just was pushed so hard that he had to step out, or he just tried to make that move at that moment, and then he did. It turned him.
Kevin Harvick.
That's as close as it gets right there.
Brad Keselowski looks like he has this missed.
He does everything right. He sees it happen. He moves down the apron, gets on the brakes, slows the car down, avoids the wreck. But unfortunately, somebody comes off the bacon and collects him.
But no damage to his car. And Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, this is the one I like. I mean, you want to talk about in your face. Look at this. This is an automobile coming at you. DoorDash is a sponsor, man. DoorDash me some new underwear. I got a mess. I'm telling you, that was close.
And it's
Boy,
only
close. That was contact.
It's only the end of stage one. All right, the Ford Mustang Mach-E heads for home, and they approach the Geico restart zone with Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin on the front row. Corey LaJoie got the free pass. And here we go with 36 cars on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin leads them around a bit more orderly than stage one, as they are 2 by 2 with Matt DiBenedetto right behind the leader. Amazingly, only one car was taken out in that crash, and the driver is with Jamie.
And it was a huge hit on the roof for Joey Logano, one of the tallest drivers in the field. Joey, what goes through your mind when you see those replays there?
I guess I don't know exactly what to think. You know, it's a product of this racing, and on one hand, I'm so proud to drive a cup car that is safe, that I can go through a crash like that and get out and speak about it. And one hand, I'm mad about being in the crash. The other hand, I'm just happy I'm alive. On the other hand, I think, when are we going to stop? Because this is dangerous, doing what we're doing. I got a roll bar in my head. You know what I mean? That's not okay. I'm one hit away from the same situation Ryan Newman just went through. I just don't feel like that's acceptable. A lot of us do this big spoiler and these big runs, the pushing and all that. It's no one's fault, right? I mean, Denny's trying to go and 47's trying to go. It's a product of this racing. We have to fix it, though, because someone already got hurt and we're still doing it, so that's not real smart. So, but at the same time, I'm appreciative of driving a car that's this safe, and appreciate what Team Penske's done for the safety of these cars as well, that I can live to talk about it and go again. So I got lucky I didn't get hit while I was in the air. So unfortunate for our Auto Trader Mustang, but we'll go on. We'll go on. It won't be a good starting spot next week.
Thanks, Joey. I'm glad you're okay.
Joey Logano was a threat to win today. He joins Kyle Larson in the garage. Here they come 2 by 2 for the lead.
Look at that big run by William Byron. Front bumper makes contact. The rear bumper just pushes Matt DiBenedetto right out to the lead.
You know, I just can't help but to look at Denny Hamlin right there in the 11 and think back to that wreck, right? It all started with the 11 car and the moving right there. Had he not have spun basically right into the 22, that flipped Joey Logano, but it actually straightened Denny right back up and got going.
He was going to be in the outside wall,
in the fence and
destroyed.
done. And here he is still in this thing. Survival. It's what we talked about at the start, and it's still alive. You have to survive. Sometimes it's lucky, sometimes it's your doings.
Martin Truex second on the outside lane to William Byron.
I mean, I just think of all the comments that we've had from Martin Truex Jr. over the years at these racetracks. It's not that he doesn't like him. He's just like, how do I get a finish? I just want to be there at the end, and I think I have a shot at this thing. So he's just quietly trying to, be patient and find his way to the end of this race, and so far doing a great job.
He had a speeding penalty back at the competition caution on lap 25, but has worked his way right back toward the front of the field. Now side by side with Denny Hamlin, his teammate. So Bubba Wallace had some damage from that crash. He just ran the fastest lap of the day, 202.77 miles per hour, as he was catching up to that lead draft.
Yeah, he's behind these cars that are side by side, so basically there's no air getting to that race car and that spoiler that's holding him back. So even though there's damage, not going to stop that race car from going fast in that situation.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a little damage make a car faster either. Maybe it got it down a little sleeker, a little more, less out of the air.
'71 laps complete at the fast speedway on Earth. It's already been a wild one at Talladega. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Just when you thought they'd go single file and ride a while, look at this.
4 wide. Oh, man. Yeah, basically Ross Chastain tried to make a move to go 3 wide to the outside. Then somebody went to the outside. I think it was William Byron to the outside of Ross Chastain. That's what got him 4 wide. Now they're back down to 3.
And lucky it landed right in his lap that his teammate just so happened to back up. Kurt Busch did and let him in.
42 in the 1, second and third cars in the middle.
Now I thought when an incident happened like just what happened to Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the guys that were sort of pushing and shoving, I thought that might calm them down a little bit. Not at all. These guys are still pushing and shoving just as hard.
27, 21, 37, 24.
There's your Xfinity fastest lap of the day. Bubba Wallace recently.
Now look at the top speed. You saw Denny Hamlin reach 200 right there out front.
Fine and dandy until you have somebody pushing you. You know, you see it on that angle when those cars are coming at you. You can see a big push and the old rear end's dancing around on you, Jeff. You're trying to keep it underneath that. You got the, you know, your foot through the floorboard, steering that baby, keeping that car behind you. That is when 200-mile-an-hour gets your attention.
I do think it's important to point out on Joey Logano, if you get turned and the car goes left, you know, where the back end goes to the left, there's no roof flaps that are going to deploy to push that. And the cars are really, those things are designed to turn right. They still have some roof flaps or some roof rails and some different things that help in a spin to that direction. But that is when a car typically gets airborne, like we saw with Joey Logano.
Ride with Brad Keselowski. He's in the midst of that outside lane. There he is. White and green.
Anytime you're side drafting like that, you're going to be wide open until when you get single file and you get a big run on somebody, then you're probably going to see them back out of the throttle like you saw Brad do as they went into turn 3.
Well, just ahead of him in the trial, the Ross Chastain went up and almost slapped the wall right in front of Brad. Chastain and Busch slot in the outside in front of the two.
Whoa! I was like, Ryan Blaney, don't do that. Thought better of it. That was a good call by the spotter and by Ryan.
Clear, near. No, stop.
That hole opened up for him.
Wanting to get up there in front of his teammate. It's exactly the hole he was looking for, but it was closing up way too fast.
Let's go back and look at that incident with Ross Chastain.
So you see Ross is in that white and green number 42. He's getting a push from Kurt Busch. Oh yeah, man, that's a spotter saying, if you want to get up, there is a hole, but it's coming fast and it's closing fast. Go now.
He went now, all right. He almost smoked the wall. That was an aggressive move. He pulled on that wheel really, really hard.
Fellow who used to stand right here would have said he went to the luck bank and made a withdrawal. 79 laps complete. We may see pit stops in the not too distant future. 19 of 60 complete in stage 2. 83 laps complete. Here's the Coca-Cola Racing family. Denny Hamlin, the leader. Austin Dillon 20th, Ryan Newman 30th, Daniel Suarez 34th, and Joey Logano went upside down on lap 60 of this race. He's okay. Car is out of the race. So coming to lap 84, 6 laps before halfway in the stage, the Chevys are aligned at the bottom of the racetrack. Are they coming, Larry?
I believe so.
Well, the window is opening, and here they come. They're coming. They got organized on the bottom. You have to be careful getting on the pit road and not slide the tires, because I think this will be a lot of 2-tire stops.
Jamie.
And that's exactly what we're hearing, Larry Mack, the 37er, Ryan Preece in his pit box with a really good run here. They'll adjust on him. They're making that car better. William Byron as well, right sides only, and the 9 of Chase Elliott. Car was not handling good earlier on, but as this race goes on, drivers are getting happier.
48 of Alex Bowman. That race car a little bit twitchy early on in the race. They've been making it better for last week's winner.
Ryan Preece leads that group off pit road. He had been running third at the time of this green flag pit stop. That leaves the Fords and the Toyotas out there. Everybody pretty much single file. Oh, Daniel Suarez too fast entering.
Well, you saw he was towards the back of those Chevrolets, and when he came to pit road, he was very aggressive. And you could see him come to the entrance of pit road and carrying way more speed than the drivers and cars he was around.
Ross Chastain too fast exiting.
Fundamentals. You know, you can have the right plan and you do all the right things. If the fundamentals, if you don't get those right, it'll bite you, and that's exactly what happens every time on a situation like that.
Got to execute.
So that means a pass through down pit road at 60 miles an hour while your competition's out there going 200.
That's why I was never a big fan of being the first group of cars to come to pit road, because there's always that chance. One, there could be a caution if somebody misses pit road in a big way. There's also, you know, that chance of those mistakes. It just is a great reminder of, hey, be calm, execute, get on and off pit road. Don't take too many risks and chances at this stage of the race.
So the penalties are being served. They will have each other to draft off of when they get back out there. So all Chevrolets making that pit stop at lap 84. So safety in numbers, there are more Chevys than there are either Fords or Toyotas. At Daytona, we saw the Toyotas pitting with the Fords. Again, safety in numbers, you don't want to come out there with just 2 or 3 or even 4 cars in a draft, because you won't be as fast as the big pack, right?
Absolutely. And right now you have the Fords and the Toyotas who have all stayed out, so they've added to their numbers. And then the Chevrolets, because of some of the incidences with Suarez, with Chastain, and even the 9 car of Chase Elliott didn't have a great pit stop. So those Chevrolets have lost 3 of their good cars for this draft.
Well, and that's what we talk about drafting, right? Drafting together is one conversation, but where you can really benefit and help the overall goal of a Ford or a Chevrolet or a Toyota is that strength in numbers when you do these green flag pit stops. We started today with 15 Fords, 18 Chevrolets, and 7 Toyotas. Now you only have 14 Fords, 17 Chevys. So, but as these wrecks happen too, those numbers go down. So that contributing factor is so important. And then the other side of that is their fuel mileage. You know, everybody's fuel mileage is different on that. And Jeff, to your point, what you were talking about, you didn't want to be the first one. Sometimes your hand is forced because of fuel mileage.
So Chase Elliott had a bad pit stop. He came back out on track all by himself. Nothing wrong with his car, but he's 7 miles per hour slower than that big, long drafting train that has just put him a lap down. Jamie.
Well, and he's been saying since the beginning of this race, he feels like he can't be aggressive. He can't close up to the car in front of him. So they have been making adjustments to try to help Chase, but so far it's not helping.
While the other Chevys changed 2 tires in 7 seconds, took Elliott's crew 11. And that's what's now put him a lap down.
Well, the only thing that can save him right here is that we know these other cars, as long as it stays green, they will come to pit road. It's just how much time is he losing to even those other Chevrolets, or whether he'll be a lap down, Larry?
Yeah, what I'm seeing is that group that has stayed out there, the Toyotas and the Ford, they're running right around 49 flat. That group that pitted, the Chevrolet teams, they're lined up. They're running 48, 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're faster right now, just head-to-head as two groups.
Well, that's pretty impressive because, there's a lot less of those cars, but I think they're getting they got to be getting a little. No, there's nobody in front of them that they would be getting help from. So I'm a little bit baffled by that. That's impressive speed by those Chevrolets.
Yeah, they can't sniff a draft. They can't sniff a cloud. Nothing but clean air in front of them.
And basically what Chase Elliott's job has been to do right now is to break those cars up that are in that draft to try to slow them down. And he has done that by side drafting with Brad Keselowski.
One thing that'll make that group faster that's up there that did pit, they got a full load of fuel. That's got the back of that car down and gets that spoiler out of the air.
Good point, Larry.
Halfway in stage 2. 30 down, 30 to go. So, Larry, how long can they wait to make that green flag stop?
Yeah, fuel-wise, Mike, they can go another 10 or 11 laps, but I just don't like what I'm seeing with the stopwatch. They're losing half to 3/4 of a second to that group, and that's gonna also equate to when they make the pit stop and come back out. They're just losing a lot of ground.
It's going to force your hand. And the other thing we talked about is Toyotas. There's only 7 of them, so you got to piggyback off of one of these other manufacturers, and it certainly looks like their plan is to be with those Fords when they pit.
Well, Larry, you got me thinking now. That full load of fuel, look how fast this 9 car of Chase Elliott is. He was going to go backwards 7 miles per hour. We talked about by not having the draft. As soon as he got one helper in Kyle Busch, he is shot to the front of this.
Here they come.
And some of them are going to peel off and make this pit stop right now. Led, I believe, by Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, this is the Fords in that group coming. Split up those Toyotas, Jamie.
And the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto, they said don't slide him, and that means right then. They're going to take right sides only. The balance has been pretty good. He's clean. Regan?
Kevin Harvick in the 4 car. That race car just a little bit too tight for him right now. He's been happy. You see 2 tires for him. His teammate Colt Custer, that race car as well. Been to the tight side, a strong run for him. Ryan Blaney, a good recovery after running out of fuel on the last stop.
So that's the all Ford pit stop at lap 92.
Mike, the Toyotas, they have to come now. They've got to come now.
Harvick and Buescher too fast entering.
Ooh, I think Denny was too fast.
Denny was hot coming in there. You saw him locking up rear tires.
Jamie.
The 23 of Bubba Wallace, remember they took left sides last time, so they were talking about their option here, working on the left side for Bubba to give him options. This car is fast, Regan.
Denny Hamlin, now he goes across the line right there. They're going to have to back him up before they do the stop. The plan was left sides only unless he felt something when he slid the tires. Kyle Busch, that race car's had good platform for him. He's been happy with it.
I'm not so sure Denny Hamlin backed up enough.
Well, he's penalized anyway, Jeff. Too fast entering, as you pointed out.
Yeah, but that wouldn't hurt him near as much as doing a pit stop outside the box. I mean, it was right there on the line.
If he was across that line, then it's a 1-lap hit.
Yeah.
It'll be a 1-lap penalty.
Oh, look at that thing. Yeah, I mean, Denny drove so much deeper, and you can see there's still some seepage of water on the track at some of those seams. And boy, man, that was a disastrous pit road sequence for that 11.
So Berlin, Connecticut's Ryan Preece, the former NASCAR modified champ, is the race leader from William Byron, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, and Eric Jones, all in Chevrolets.
I said fundamentals a minute ago. One of the most overlooked things, and it's very easily overlooked, is getting some temperature in your brakes, Jeff. When you're coming in on a green flag pit stop like that, you've just been riding around out there, not dragging the brakes, not doing anything, no temperature at all in your brakes. Now all of a sudden you got to use them all up. If you don't have some temperature in them, they want to grab, they want to lock up, and I think that's exactly what you saw.
But also, it just seemed to me like Denny waited really late to get on the brakes, so he was fully committed.
Second speeding penalty of the year for Denny Hamlin, who has always said, I want to get all I can coming to pit road. He got all that. and a little bit too much. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by McDonald's. 97 laps complete. Ryan Preece is your leader from William Byron, Kurt Busch, and now Matt DiBenedetto and Brad Keselowski in Fords, breaking up the Chevrolet parade at the front. Took a close look at Denny Hamlin's pit stop, and after he backed up, it is the white line that defines the pit box. He was in his pit when he made the stop, but entering on his penalty lap, he was too fast again.
I can't stop it. It almost looks like he's wheel hopping it. It was big time the first time. Yeah, I don't know. It's the same brakes we've been running at Speedways forever.
So Hamlin had to do another drive down pit road for a second penalty. Here he is coming to pit lane the first time.
I'll slide him. Hit road speed, load up, hit road speed.
I didn't really hear a wheel hop or anything like that. Honestly, I saw exactly what he said. He couldn't stop it. Just didn't seem like the brakes either didn't have enough temperature, or honestly, you run a lot smaller, less brake here on a super speedway than you would a mile and a half for a short track, obviously because of the weight difference. You want the weight, the rotating mass off of it. But that being said, that baby wouldn't stop.
So Denny Hamlin, there's the list of speeders today. Hamlin is now one lap down, and he's at least half a straightaway from a shot at the free pass position. For a little more on our race leader, here's Jamie.
Yeah, Ryan Preece continues to lead here. Well, they last pitted at lap 84. There's 21 to go in this second stage. So how are they looking on fuel? This was their radio communication moments ago.
So, I mean, should I try and drop back and save the fuel now? That way I don't have to do it at the end. Drop back yet. Make them pass you. I mean, I think we're still good by one lap. I'm just getting a little safety.
Friday night, our race leader will be up in Stafford, Connecticut to run the Spring Sizzler, rained out from today. Once billed as the greatest race in the history of spring by one of its creators, Dick Berggren. Then, of course, he'll be at Kansas next Sunday with all of us. Martin Truex lost the lead draft in that pit sequence. He's back to 15th. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Drive always discovers possibility. Goodyear, more driven. Caution flag has just waved for the 4th time today. Kurt Busch, a lot of smoke from the rear of that car, and it filled the cockpit and then got on the backstretch. And fluid on the backstretch is the reason for the caution. But watch this action here. Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez trying to stay on the lead lap. Ryan Preece catches the two of them, and then this.
Well, once you see that side drive maybe stalled out the leader, Preece, and you're Ross Chastain, you think, hey, I've got a shot. I might be able to stay on the lead lap here, but that was an aggressive move. Almost turned our leader around.
And Kurt Busch was right in the middle of all that, and then smoke started pouring from the rear, and that led to fluid on the track and a fire. Jamie.
Oh boy, yep, there's the fire. He said, well, I have oil pressure. The recommended amount of oil pressure I should have, I do. He said, I think we have an oil line loose. Woo, we smell it down here. It is coming in hot.
Yeah, and you could hear his engine in the in-car that it sounded fine. You know, usually when they have that much smoke, Jeff, they don't sound good anymore.
No.
They're getting sick in a hurry, dropping cylinders. I would say that's for sure what happened, oil line or something.
And who benefits? His teammate, Ross Chastain, gets the free pass. Cleaning up from Kurt Busch and a barbecue. Today, NASCAR and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America announced a multi-year partnership to support the nonprofit's mission of enabling and enriching the lives of young people. Its work with NASCAR will help support more than 4.6 million kids and teens to achieve great futures. BGCA.org is the website if you'd like to visit. And our Fox Sports CEO, Eric Shanks, he attended the clubs as a youth. He's now a member of the Boys and Girls Club Alumni Hall of Fame. Regan.
Well, the 19 car, Martin Truex Jr. right there. Pretty happy with his race car. He's had a lot of speed, not wanting a lot of adjustments here. The 48, Alex Bowman, that car got very tight off with the 2 tires that they took under green flag, so they're going to take 4 here, make an adjustment to it. And the 12 of Ryan Blaney, just a little bit of bottoming out on that race car is all.
So not many takers as they have fuel to go the distance to the end of stage 2. 14 laps away. There was a long stop for Ricky Stenhouse, and then Chris Buescher still in with the left side up and working on the splitter and the front grille area. Let's have a look at Win Clint's money. And by the way, if you're entered in the drawing to win that Camping World camper, along with the $25,000 for the most right answers. Who of these drivers will have the best finish in stage 2?
Tough pick right there. Hope you didn't pick Joey.
Hope you didn't pick Denny.
Money's safe.
William Byron, your leader. We should be going green when we come back. A little bit of speedy dry on the backstretch. Oh, yeah. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. And by Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance.
Grab an ice cold Coke Zero Sugar and buckle up. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Getting set for the restart. There's Ryan Newman. Hard at work. He'll fire off from the 12th position. Up front, William Byron and Matt DiBenedetto. Want to go back to row 7 where Harrison Burton in the Gaunt Brothers number 96 is driving in his very first NASCAR Cup race. His cousin Jeb Burton won the Xfinity race yesterday from Austin Cindric for his first career win. And here's Harrison having a nice drive after removing equipment from the pit box penalty early. Here he is in 13th place.
Yeah, hanging tough and doing exactly what he needs to do, right? Log laps, learn from the best in the business, and certainly right there in the running. You never know. You never know about Talladega. One bad wreck and the big one happens. If you can get through that, have a little bit of luck on your side with a push at the end, you can win this thing.
Now, further back in the 14th row will be Kevin Harvick, serving the penalty for over the wall too soon. Also, Ricky Stenhouse, his team pitted too soon. And there's going to be a battle for the free pass position. Justin Haley, Denny Hamlin, Cody Ware, Timmy Hill, Daniel Suarez, all one lap down.
Jeff, coming to this stage, and if you're Denny Hamlin, you're a lap down. Are you worried about that yet? Are you going to try to go push the envelope knowing these guys are going to be 3 or 4 wide at the end of this stage to try to get your lap back, or you just wait?
Not sure he has a choice.
Here they come to the Geico restart zone. We're going to listen to Coleman Presley, the number 2 spotter, Brad Keselowski's car.
Tighter behind us by half. Top's not together yet. Half behind being pushed to you. Pushing to you. Still being pushed to you. Top's not as organized. On you. On you. On for 2. Still outside. Lanes are going to be built equal now. Lanes are equal. Actually tighter up top now. 3rd lane start. 5th row back. 5th row back to the 3rd lane. 20's got a big push to you. Big push coming to you. All right. Half by half. All the room you need in front of him. Room in front, room in front, room in front, room in front. Outside the 37, open 2 behind him, now just 1 behind him. Tighter on our lane, stacked up really hard. All the room you need in front, equal strength, equal cars. Blaney's the 5th car on the top lane right now.
Boy, that's tough when those cars are coming straight at the spotter, or right now when they're tails away.
But I like what I heard out of Coleman Presley. Very calm, like very methodical, just straightforward, giving you all the information you need. I like that a lot. A lot of people really say Coleman Presley's an excellent spotter, and I could hear and I could see why by listening to him.
And a lot of information right there running 2 wide. I couldn't imagine what that's like at the end of this race when you're 3 and 4 wide.
Jamie.
Coleman Presley, the spotter for Brad Keselowski, a former driver. This is the 3rd year these two are working together, and I talked to him a little bit. He said Brad wants him to talk every single second, every single lap. He said Brad takes in all of the information, makes sense of it, and makes his moves. He said Brad is great to work with, but he's going to wear me out today.
All right, Denny Hamlin is up there in that lead pack as Matt DiBenedetto is now out in front of Byron. So Hamlin is in the free pass position as Kurt Busch returns to the race. Guess they repaired that oil line.
Well, if you want to know if Denny's going to be aggressive or not, the answer is yes. I mean, you saw him. He was coming about 10 more miles per hour than anybody else up through the middle. And now here he is to the rear bumper of Chris Buescher.
I tell you who didn't do very good right there is exactly who we were talking about. And I watched it. Brad Keselowski make a big push to his teammate, or Matt D. Pushed him to the lead, but it didn't give him enough room to go with him. Kyle, oh!
Is that Kyle
Huge
Busch?
save right there.
Wow.
Big save. Got spit out of that pack. And thank goodness all that area to the inside coming off turn 4 is paved.
And we're still 8 to go on the stage. I thought I'd see something like this maybe the last lap. Let's check this out. You can see Bubba Wallace.
It's a big run
and
on him.
Truex. They got a big run to the 20s. 21 going to put a block. Yes.
Oh,
wow. So Matt DiBenedetto puts a block on Kyle Busch. Almost turned DiBenedetto around right there.
How about Kyle Busch?
Well,
so Larry, remind us again about the rule about pushing somebody below the yellow line.
Yeah, if you force someone below the yellow line, you are subject as well. But Mike, I think that goes to a whole nother area right there. What I just saw, both those cars were completely sideways.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the penalty kind of served itself right there for both of those guys.
Yeah, it's a no call. DiBenedetto getting into Kyle Busch, who went for a pretty wild ride there. And now the front 6 are single file. Make that front 7. Martin Truex leading the inside lane.
check out this top 5 right now. Bubba Wallace up there. You got Byron, Buescher, Keselowski, and then Michael McDowell.
This is typical Talladega, a mixture of favorites and surprises right in front. Ryan Blaney in that outside lane in 6th. Regan?
Well, Mike, you see him making a move right now with Michael McDowell. A little while ago, Ryan Blaney came on the radio, said that he really likes his race car as a pusher, not so much out front, though. He said it feels a little too sluggish for him out front, so keep an eye on him to push other Fords perhaps to the front, as we see him doing right now. Really likes that car as he's trying to push somebody.
But filling up his mirror, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, who just might unlap himself.
Well, and that's what it looks like he's going for, Mike. He doesn't want to be the free pass. He wants to get back on the lead lap all by himself.
Boxed in right now as they come around to 5 to go.
But back to Clint's point, how much risk do you take at doing that? Because we saw how wild it got down to the final laps of the stage one. It's probably going to be something similar to that here at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, you said how much risk. I mean, that's pretty much risking it all right there. Putting yourself in a pretty vulnerable spot. But, hey, closer you get to the front of that thing, we've said it time and time again, you can stay in front of that wreck instead of being, mired back in it and getting caught up in it. Whoa, big. 23 of Bubba Wallace got really loose off the bumper of Brad right there. These Fords are pushing extremely hard. You heard Ryan Blaney talk about his ability to be able to push, and I think you don't have to look any further than the horsepower under the hood of Doug Yates and his boys.
Well, you saw Brad go up to block that outside lane. William Byron leading that lane. It took him back for a second, but now that momentum's building. Now the big push coming from the 24. What will Brad do with that push? I was a little surprised he left the Ford of McDowell down in that inside lane. Now the big push. Look at Blaney pushing McDowell. They're connected. Whoa, down the yellow line.
You can tell just how squirrely he got as he was trying to stay connected. You start leaning on the wheel as you get into that corner, and that's where trouble happens.
And if Bubba waits a quarter second longer to slice down to the bottom to block that run, they're all wadded up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no safe place out here anymore, Mike. We used to think being out front as the leader, but you're trying to block both of those lines to maintain control, and then that's taking just as much risk.
3 to go, and keep an eye on the 11 of Hamlin. He is trying to get his lap back before this stage ends.
Michael McDowell has his hands full. That car is really, really loose with cars pushing him from behind.
Oh, man,
like that?
Now.
See?
He got hit in the left rear.
I don't think it started there, though, Jeff. His car is so loose, as soon as they get to his bumper, he's all over the place, and you may have started on the right rear, but eventually you're going to be to the left rear as that thing's tank swapping.
Hamlin and Kyle Busch are nose to tail on the inside.
I was going to say McDowell's loose on the straightaways.
And here they come to the middle.
Well, and he's got Bubba Wallace. What's Bubba Wallace going to do? He's going to try to protect that lead. Are they teammates or not teammates? Team owner or not team owner in that situation?
That didn't help Hamlin at all. Now he's got help from Keselowski.
Oh, got a big push.
And that was that left rear you were talking about, Jeff. You do not want to push in that left rear. Wants to turn these cars around immediately.
Bubba Wallace trying for his first ever stage win. Denny Hamlin's got to get back on the lead lap if he can. Now he is the free pass position, but that's not what he's looking for here. And it'll be 1 to go when they get back.
It's just, Denny in the outside wall.
There's that risk assessment, man.
Hendrick cars, all 3 Hendrick cars that are left of this field.
That was a big block. Stacked them all up, turned them around.
That wasn't a question of if, it was a matter of when.
I was just about to say one more lap to have a wreck, and then it started.
Truex got into the wall. Hamlin, crush panels pushed in. Byron.
The 9 car, Chase Elliott, that's as fast as I've ever seen anybody go backwards rolling. Did a great job of keeping that thing straight and out of the wall.
See this big run on the top, yeah.
And watch this block of Brad.
Wait, oh boy, yeah. So Denny's teammate of Truex was trying to push him, but when Brad moved up in that outside lane, then that stacked up Denny, and he had to move left to right, and then that's when the rear bumper of the on Denny hooked the front bumper of Truex. That's what you see right there. Turns Denny into that outside lane, or outside wall.
William Byron down into his teammate Alex Bowman,
and below him was Chase Elliott.
Riding with Hamlin.
You can hear the RPMs pick up.
And the stage ends under caution. Bubba Wallace picks up his first ever stage win. From Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, and Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace is a NASCAR stage winner. This is not a video game. This is not last Wednesday night iRacing at Talladega on FS1. This is for real. This is the end of stage 1 with Joey Logano flipping, flying up in the air, coming over Bubba Wallace's car. Wallace, ironically, wins stage 2 when this happens. Martin Truex gets into the back of Denny Hamlin after a Brad Keselowski block to the top. And cars are spinning everywhere. What is left for the end of the race?
Yeah, this is for a stage. This is not for the win. You think this is crazy, just stick around. It's going to continue to ramp up.
Yeah, my answer to that, Mike, is plenty.
All right, 5 cars involved in that crash at lap 119. They are all able to continue, some albeit with damage. Pit road is open for the stage-ending pit stop. Here's Jamie.
And Brad Keselowski said he's lacking grip a little bit. When others are pushing him, he doesn't really go anywhere. So they'll try to help him there with an air pressure adjustment as they put tires on the right side, get clear vision with that tear off on the front. They'll go around. It'll be a 4-tire stop for the 2. The 23, Bubba Wallace, to win a stage is a big deal for this brand new team. Regan.
Michael McDowell, that race car is loose, as we saw on our screen. Crew Chief Drew Blickensderfer telling him, take a breath. As a reminder, the 18 of Kyle Busch, 2 tires on the last stop, 1 and 4 on this stop. He was too loose on the 2 tires.
The Ram race off pit road as Ryan Blaney picking up 4 spots, and Eric Almirola, fuel only, plus 13. Big swing there. So let's dial up our second stage winner, Jeff.
Hey, Bubba Wallace. Jeff and the guys up here in the Fox Sports booth, you got us?
What's up, GG?
You, man. That was pretty wild. Great job winning stage 2 there. And, man, we're seeing these crazy blocks and all this action just to end the stage. What are we going to expect at the end of this race?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm just out here trying to survive, and it seems to be working out for us, but definitely had a more aggressive mindset coming into this race. And not counteracting for the hatch. We got a long way to go, but really proud of my guys on our DoorDash Camry here. It's cool to get my first stage win and have some fun. Like I said, long race to go. Super proud of everybody and just trying to have fun. And this organized chaos is what we call it.
Oh, it's organized chaos, all right. I got a question. Freddie Kraft, you on here, man? You're doing a good job. How did you keep your driver out of that harm's way with the Logano car? How did you win this stage? What lane do you like for the end of this thing? The timing, the blocks. How do you think you guys are doing so far?
You know, it's pretty uneventful. Just had a car land on us. It's hard to tell where to go. I wasn't sure where he was going to land at, but yeah, it's like Bubba said, organized chaos. Just kind of trying to judge where the lines are coming. I don't think there's any preferred lane. It's just depends on who's pushing you, and obviously the Penske cars look good again. Our Toyota is pretty damn good right now, so we're just waiting to see what happens at the end here. Like Bubba said, a long way to go, though.
All right, guys, keep up the good work. Good luck.
Appreciate it, Glenn.
All right, thanks to Team 2311 for that communication, as Bubba Wallace has scored his first NASCAR Cup stage win. 64 laps to go in Talladega. After all that, only 2 cars are out of the race. Flip-flying Joey Logano and Kyle Larson, who overheated quickly because a packing piece in front of the radiator did not get removed before they put his car out on the grid. Heavyweights on track here, and here's some more in 6 days. Don't miss the return of former heavyweight champ Andy Ruiz as he takes on rugged veteran Chris Arreola, plus a stacked card of Mexican firepower. Saturday, live on pay-per-view.
Oh. Things got pretty crazy here on pit road.
Yeah, it missed his pit box right there. That was a really close call.
Now these are cars stopping that did not stop when the pits first opened under this stage-ending caution. Probably waiting right to the end of the caution to top off.
Yeah.
1 to go. No choose rule here, not at the 2 super speedways or at the road courses. So you line up the way you come off pit road. That'll put Blaney and Almirola out front of Wallace and McDowell. We will restart with 33 lead lap cars. Alex Bowman is a lap down after making multiple pit stops and repairs. Denny Hamlin now 2 laps down. There's your Toyota top performers. Bubba Wallace won the stage. He is 3rd. Kyle Busch has led half a dozen laps today, about as many as he'd led in the entire season so far. He's currently 5th. Christopher Bell 6th. Harrison Burton in his Cup debut 10th. Regan, how did Eric Almirola get to 2nd?
Well, Mike, just to update his day, we talked about that vibration that he had earlier with that race car. It took them about 4 different stops to finally figure it out. They actually found a chip that was out of the front splitter of the race car. That's what's causing the vibration. He's still dealing with it right now. They at least know what it is. Hey, he's up in 2nd. Who knows?
Right.
But that's all it takes sometimes, is just changing the airflow over something that's very affected by, you know, how the air flows in and under and around that splitter.
And it tells you how sensitive that splitter is.
Yeah.
You know, everybody always wonders the impact of the splitter. Look no further, and just a chip in that thing makes a massive vibration.
Well, here they come to the Geico restart zone to begin stage 3. Blaney inside, Almirola outside. Blaney in command from Almirola, McDowell, and Keselowski. The damaged vehicle repair policy clock expired on Alex Bowman, so he's had to go to the garage where he'll join Joey Logano and Kyle Larson.
You know, all race long, Mike, I see where it looks like they're going to form a single line. They're going to start behaving and being patient and wait till the end of this race. And then that just changes in an instant. But right now I see 6 Fords in that outside lane that have all gotten nose to tail. This is that perfect time to execute that plan that you set up at the beginning of this race for this final stage.
I'm gonna tell you what, guys, Ryan Blaney, that 12, he's got a bunch of debris over that grill.
Oh man,
I mean, it's about got the whole opening closed off.
Where did that come from? That looks like the backside of some bear bond.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, that's not going to work for Ryan Blaney.
I can't imagine no bear bonds out there today.
No, not at all.
Now, if the sticky side is on the grill, getting a car in front of him is not going to pull that off.
Well, this is actually the non-adhesive side.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
But to your point, you better hope it's not. If it's a full piece of bare bond, good luck getting it off. That is the stickiest, toughest stuff I've ever seen known to me. I think you could build a car out of it.
Yeah, guys, it's just the parts you pull off, the actual sticky stuff, and he picked it up right at the start-finish line on the restart.
And I can't help but to think that that wouldn't. It must just be getting just enough airflow in it that it's staying cool enough to stay up front.
Geez, how many times have we said the leader cleans the track for everybody? If there's something out there, he's the first guy to find it.
Well, usually we're talking about hot dog wrappers and things like that, Mike.
Right.
Not a billboard.
You never know what you're going to pick up at Talladega after 9 innings.
Show you how he got that, as Larry pointed out. There it is.
Now it is pretty windy here at Talladega. It has been the last couple days, so I don't know if that was on pit road, blew down pit road, got onto the racetrack, or somebody just left it still connected to that bare bond as they went out on the track.
Still 25 to be good here. Probably a couple laps though.
Copy. I'm with the 10 and 34, so just tell me whenever we need to do it. We're all going to be on the same page to make it work.
Okay, so they're planning how to get in behind one of their Ford teammates there and hopefully get that debris off the nose. But yeah, there's no other way to do it other than somehow tripping that air up around side by side or in behind some other car.
Well, Clint, a lucky 13 people went 6 for 6 playing Fox Bet Super 6. They, pending eligibility verification, they'll split 25 grand of your money. That is $1,923 each.
Woo! Now we're talking.
That is awesome.
And your new best friend Joe from Utahville, South Carolina, has won your Camping World RV.
How about that? Just got some information on him. Big NASCAR fan, has been for 30 years. Used to have a motor home. Well, guess what? We fixed that problem. Hooked him up with a brand new camper from Camping World. Appreciate their support. But man, all you have to do is go to Fox Bet. Get on the app. Put your Super 6 on. It's free. It's easy. Just won 1,000 bones.
So here's Almirola pulling in front of Blaney, trying to clean that.
And already
use the pressure differential here.
Already start to see that debris start to flip around, and it's not going to be long before it's gone. Oh, still stuck in that bottom
all of it
section.
Except for where you want it to. Oh no.
That's gone. Bye-bye.
You got it already, so it's just
Good job, driver.
Great job executing that by that race team, because he's running that high line. That makes it pretty easy for the Almirola in second to just get that run on the bottom, shortcut the corner, and then jump right up in front of him in the banking.
Now we got to look back there and see who else picked it up. It went somewhere.
Meanwhile, we'll check to see if Joe wants Clint to stay with him in the camper at Darlington in a couple of weeks, as we take you, Fox, side by side with Eric Almirola leading. Eric Almirola from Tampa, Florida, driving for Stuart Haas in the number 10 Mustang, leading his first laps of 2021. His season just got off to a disastrous start. He was never last in the points, but he sure was anchoring the bottom end of the standings. But in the last couple of races, they have come alive. Been to the luck bank, had a good finish in Richmond. Here we go.
Well, if you're a good team, you're a good driver, usually those percentages will come back your way. But boy, they didn't start the season off that way. Look at the 34th, 17th, 30th, 30. I mean, just nothing going his way until last weekend at Richmond. That was kind of the first time they saw the light at the end of the tunnel with that 6th place finish.
Well, the turning point. How do you get this thing, the ship pointed in the right direction? And the only way you can do that is good runs. Confidence is everything in this sport, and you can't just make up confidence. You can't just say, all right, we're going to be more confident. A good, strong run like they had at Richmond, look at the difference it's making in the program.
What we are going to do while they're single file for a bit, with 51 to go, we're going to give you a Fox Talladega. Crank it up.
Copy. You've got the 16 and the 99 and the one behind him.
So I can get ahead to the bottom.
Passing the best they could before we got.
Half. First through 15.
All good up here. You got one back to the 16. He's got two back to the one.
Him and the 16.
Another 12 to 15. We're watching the chat, see what they do here.
Copy. It's all about.
Full run, so.
One in front, one out back. Still tight with him, gap behind the 16.
.48 laps to go. Do you want to be the leader when they're single file like this? We listened in on Team 10.
Anybody want to rotate the seat again? So we can save something for a few laps? Somebody back there behind us had to save this whole run, so.
I think he's talking about Michael McDowell or Brad Keselowski, both of which have been in the draft for this whole run, while Ryan Blaney and Eric Almirola have been out in front of it.
I don't think, and Jeff, help me here, I don't think you can pull out and do a swap without stacking them up behind you and maybe breaking up a single file advantage. But to his point, you're exactly right. I mean, you're out there burning a massive amount difference than a guy, running 15th to 20th. He's back there half throttle at best and saving a massive.
I think Almirola felt like he was in the perfect position when he was in second place behind Ryan Blaney. He really didn't want to take the lead, but he's like, okay, I have no other choice because this guy's got to get the debris off of his nose.
Not getting any help from them, so we're just going to have to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I think you got to stick with it. Unfortunately, for
look at the difference right here.
Wow.
Michael McDowell half throttle, where Eric's having to be wide open.
Jeff and Clint, I'm looking at a lot of throttle traces. Almirola is the only one running wide open right now around this track.
Well, why don't he just cracker deck back to half throttle.
Well,
slow him down.
No, I think he's going to ask for a piece of paper on his grill.
Wow.
And all because he helped his buddy Ryan Blaney out by moving to the front and getting the paper off his grill. Yes, it's been a crazy day at Talladega already. Eric Almirola continues to lead, burning fuel at a much higher rate than the cars behind him. The bottom lane is beginning to form up. Pit stops are coming soon, but it's time for the Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, Mike, I'm watching Matt DiBenedetto. Last fall here at Talladega, he was leading on the last lap and got passed. I think today might be an opportunity for him to make up for that, get his first win, but more importantly, the 100th win for the Wood brothers.
Jeff, Michael McDowell started the season off with 3 top 10s, including that win in the Daytona 500, and it has been a rough ride ever since then. In 20 starts at Talladega, only what top 10? But right now, he's right up in there amongst them.
You mean you guys are going to give me Eric Almirola, the leader of this race, won this race in 2018. I think he's holding a pretty wheel. He's hungry for a win, needs to get his season turned around. Eric Almirola is my guy.
How about the day that Bubba Wallace has had in the 23? Won his first career stage in stage 2. He's led 17 laps, and he got landed on by the 22 with Joey Logano. He's still kicking. This team is having one of the best races we've seen this year, and 2 of his best career finishes came right here. Keep your eye on the 23.
Well, Brad Keselowski has won here 5 times. I know he already has a plan for the last lap of this race and what he's going to do. It will change, but he's a thinker and he's a planner. I'm going with the man with the plan in car number 2. And those are your Credit One Bank ones to watch. I would imagine Eric Almirola is not the happiest driver out there right now. As we showed you with the telemetry, his fuel burn is much higher than the cars that are drafting off of him and saving gas.
Well, and so if the other Fords want to stretch that fuel mileage to pit later, like we saw them do earlier, then that will definitely play against Eric Almirola. But look at this now. You see Ross Chastain goes to the inside, takes the lead. I think those Chevrolets are starting to line up, maybe getting ready for a pit stop, although there's some Toyotas and Fords in there.
Chastain and his Chip Ganassi teammate Kurt Busch 6 laps down after having that oil line problem that brought out a caution. And on that caution, Chastain got the free pass, got back on the lead lap, and is now the race leader.
And Mike, the window is open now to come to pit road. I'm anxious to see if they maybe run it a little further in this stage than they did the last stage. They can go another 12, 13 laps on the tank of fuel they have right now.
You think these cars are tough we have in NASCAR in the Cup Series? This #1 of Kurt Busch you're riding with right here, this thing had a massive fire underneath the hood of it. I thought his day was done because of it. And you think about everything that happened to overcome. Obviously fixed the oil line. I mean, you got plug wires, ignition, everything up underneath this thing with a big, big fire still in the game. Got tough hot rod.
And I want to go back to what Larry McReynolds was saying, that they might run it a little bit longer. Well, if the end of this race is anything like the end of these stages, they need to go a lot further than just lap 188. There might be some green-white checkers they need to prepare for and pad with that fuel mileage.
Now, Kurt Busch, because his problem was mechanical, he was not subject to the NASCAR damaged vehicle policy. There was no time limit on him making that repair.
But all right, so you're down and out. No, you're not down and out. You can still be a factor in this race. You can still help bring a win back to Chip Ganassi Racing. That's exactly what he's doing, pushing his teammate Ross Chastain to a lead right here.
And guys, I can't help but think all the mistakes we've had on pit road today, with over the wall too soon, with speeding, all the mistakes, even on just making the pit stops. This might be the last trip to pit road, and it may be under green. This is going to be critical.
Our biggest mover just moved to the right. That's Ross Chastain.
Is he on this list?
He is the list.
He is good. He's not just moving forward, he's moving left and right.
That's exactly right. And that's what it takes. You're down to, I've always said in this race, I don't care what happens early on, but you start talking 40 laps to go, you need to get yourself established. Now we got a pit stop coming and things like that. I need to be up front. When the time's right now. The time you got to be up front.
And here comes old dog beer. What was that stuff? Dog brew from Busch. Yeah. Kevin Harvick goes to the front, and Stewart Haas has now led more laps today than in every race so far this season combined.
Yeah, it has not been the kind of year that Stewart Haas has been accustomed to the last few years. But it's a long season. And you can't count this group out. They're just too talented, too well-funded. The resources, everything is there. Tell you what, you talked about it, Clint, the job that Kurt Busch did to help his teammate Ross Chastain get up there, take the lead of this race. But as we're winding down, probably getting close to those green flag pit stops, he bailed out and said, okay, guys, I helped you as much as I could.
That's right, but now it's on Ross Chastain. You just talked about him moving left, right, making these big blocks. That's what it takes. You cannot lose this track position that we've afforded ourselves because of that push of our teammate. Starting to see some teammates, finding each other. Again, we talk about those magical pushes, how you win this race. You got to have some help. You got to be have that help in your rearview mirror. See it with Christopher Bell. You see it on the outside line with Eric Almirola pushing Kevin Harvick.
Now you talk about a bunch of hungry hounds. 17 of the top 20 drivers have not won this year.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
How about Eric Jones and that beautiful Tuskegee Airman U.S. Air Force paint scheme?
After what we've seen this year, why wouldn't you expect that?
But love that scheme. The Red Tails, famous in World War II, and the Tuskegee Airmen, that squadron of black pilots that achieved so much success in World War II. Great look there.
And that look right there was the pushing Kevin Harvick to the lead.
And you can see Eric Almirola trying to side draft Ross Chastain, maybe even pull him further back so his teammate Kevin Harvick can get control of this lead in this race in both of those lanes.
6, 7 Fords, 8 Fords, 9 Fords in a row right there on the outside.
Get your brakes where you need them here. We'll be pitting this.
That is Brandon McReynolds, the spotter for Ross Chastain.
Be careful not to stack them up when you do that.
Yeah, so you get your brakes right. You want to make sure you got your brake bias lever set correctly, but also you want to make sure you warm those brakes up. We've seen some guys have some trouble getting onto pit road, not having enough potentially heat in those brake.
All right, and we've talked about this communication, the spotter and the driver. Get your hand out the window. Make sure those guys know you're pitting, not only in that car, but
oh, we got
trouble.
one spinning.
And that's exactly why you do that.
Now we stay green as Stenhouse works it to pit road. No caution. Jamie.
Ross Chastain made it into his box. Meanwhile, the 23 of Bubba Wallace has a new front changer, Kevin Novak. They felt like they needed to up their game when they come into pit each week, and he's been getting it done today, Regan.
Tony Hirschman was very, very precise on the radio about pit, even with the car spinning. Right there, they took 2 right side tires for Kyle Busch. Happy with his race car.
Those guys are very lucky that this 47 car that hit the wall kept it going forward and didn't cause a caution right here.
I'm trying to think who that is, the orange car there that looks like came down from the high line and made contact with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Oh, he gets turned.
Yeah, he was on the outside. I don't even know if he was going to try to pit with him. He was on the outside.
I don't think he was. I just think there was some contact. Maybe he did check up, and he was going to try to get in line, and the car behind didn't know and made contact. But somebody turned him into Stenhouse.
I believe that may have been Quinn Houff.
Yeah, I believe that's who it was.
32 laps to go, and already today more lead changes than in this year's Daytona 500.
So, Mike, the Chevrolets and the Toyotas pitted together, and we're hearing now that Ryan Newman was too fast on pit road. These Ford teams, they can run about another 3 to 4 laps on the tank of fuel they've got.
But won't lap time force their hand a little bit too there, Larry?
Yeah, because right now they're running in the 49s. That group that pitted, the Chevrolets and the Toyotas, I'm looking at some of their last lap times was about a second quicker that last lap.
You're going to watch that lap time right there, and I think that's going to dictate when you're going to pit right here.
I'm pretty sure they did learn their lesson. They don't stay out quite as long as they did the last time.
So 13 cars in a somewhat spread out lead pack, 9 in the lead draft, and 4 more within 6 or 7 seconds.
So you got a 49-12 on that lead pack like you're talking about right here, and here comes 48-60s.
And we may see the Fords pitting on this lap.
That time those Fords, they had a little bit of a draft. You saw Harrison Burton leading between him and the 16 car there. They were able to draft behind them and actually close the gap up a good bit, 48-9.
Here you see those Fords finding their way to the bottom right here. Everybody's kind of following suit, and that 96 Harrison Burton's breaking that up, making it difficult to get to the bottom. I think they're going to pit right here.
And that was Kaz Grala, who was also right along.
Yeah, here
there.
they come.
Jamie?
Brad Keselowski in the 2, they told him not to slide their tires. That usually means they're only going to take 2 tires, so we'll have to watch here if that is the plan as they fill them up with fuel. Clear vision with that tear off the 21, and Matt DiBenedetto in as well. Yes, it is a 2-tire stop for the Fords, Regan.
Well, the 34 of Michael McDowell, that car has been so free all day long. Just needs a small adjustment for that. The 10, Eric Almirola is still shaking with the nose of that car. Not too bad, though. And the 12 of Ryan Blaney, the call was actually for 4 tires on that car. A little different strategy than everybody else.
And maybe a little contact leaving pit road between Brad Keselowski and Chase Briscoe. Ryan Newman penalized for too fast entering on his pit stop and too fast entering on his penalty drive down pit road.
Not only did those Fords come a little bit later, but look how broken up they are. I mean, Kevin Harvick's just out all by himself, so it's going to take a while for those Fords to get back together and then try to run down these Chevrolets up front.
Daytona Road Course winner Christopher Bell is your new leader with 29 laps to go, side by side. It's not often you're told to give up the lead, especially here at Talladega, but that's what happened to Christopher Bell. His team told him he was burning too much fuel and to get behind the 4 cars that were trailing him. He has done that, putting Ross Chastain back out in front for Chip Ganassi Racing.
And you can see that pack of Fords. It did not take them long, especially when Christopher Bell went to the back of that group of Chevrolets and Toyotas. And now there's Kevin Harvick. He's there with the big run.
And he's going to just stay right there.
Yeah, because he wants to save fuel. But Larry, I'm going to ask you a question. Why would they pit? Why would Christopher Bell come in and pit when they did if they feel like they're going to be short on fuel and can't lead that pack?
I think they felt like they were forced to, Jeff, because all the other Toyotas, along with those others, pitted, and they would have been left out there by themselves. But right now, there's 24 to go. Bell, when he was out there leading, he only has about 22 laps of fuel left, so he definitely has to save some fuel here.
22, there's 24 to go. That's
I didn't
5 miles.
Well, it was a timed stop for Christopher Bell, only 6.2 seconds. Maybe they didn't get it full.
Whew, that's possible.
Ross Chastain took 7.8 seconds to fill up his Chevy. Jamie?
The track has Keselowski, you noted, Mike, after he left his pit box, there was a run-in with the 14 of Chase Briscoe, and Brad said, yes, I've got left side door damage, but I don't think it's going to be an issue, so he's keeping that in mind.
Thanks.
Typically, once you leave pit road and you're side by side with somebody, you're going to have to get single file by the time you get to the exit of turn 2 and blend back out on the racetrack. So I don't know if those two were just sort of jockeying for position there and made contact.
Such an opportunity for a lot of guys. You look for this opportunity in Talladega. Look, Tyler Reddick being right up there. Ross Chastain leading this race. Eric Jones need to capitalize on this.
Top 4 have not won this year. Here's the 18, Kyle Busch.
The 4 caught the 20 now. They're staying in line right now. Just be smart and be patient. If you try to jump and try to block them by yourself, they're probably just going to shaft us and go a different direction. So pick a buddy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're Kyle Busch. You're sitting there going, okay, who are my friends? If I get a big run and I can go out and take this lead, which they might not want to right now because they want to save fuel, so it's a little too early to do that. But who's going to help me? Who's going to follow me? It's not until you go back about 3 or 4 cars to his teammate, Christopher Bell. Other than that, you got to go all the way back to maybe Bubba Wallace in a Toyota.
See the badges on the pylon, a lot of Chevys up front. The Toyotas sprinkled throughout the top 10.
I tell you
and
what,
the Fords all lined up.
Looking up there and seeing that 34 of Michael McDowell. Here's a guy he has a win. He has nothing to lose right here. He's going to be aggressive, and you can see it right now going for it with a good pusher and Brad Keselowski behind him.
Tyler Reddick bringing Christopher Bell up the inside and Kevin Harvick.
And guys, you are right. There's a clear hose on the fuel can. I can tell if the car is full when he leaves. There was no fuel in that clear hose when Christopher Bell left this pit road. I don't think they got him full.
Oh, Jamie.
To it, Brad Keselowski, they just told him we are good to the number, meaning lap number 188. But if we go to overtime, we've got to back it down and save some fuel. Meanwhile, the 21, to your point, Larry, they don't think they got enough fuel in that machine.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're not done with caution, so some caution laps would certainly help these teams a lot if they decided to stay out, keep track position, and want to save that fuel under caution. Whoa, look at this up front.
That was
Ross
almost
Chastain,
one.
Eric Jones.
That yellow car, Michael McDowell, has been told they are right on the number for fuel.
But he lost his pusher in Brad Keselowski.
Yep.
You know, and it's funny you say that. All race long here, I've been surprised by the fact that you haven't really seen teammates really together, not able to stay together long. And I think it's driven off of these huge runs that you see, the big blocks and everything else. They can't find one another. It's almost as if it's every man for himself right now. And for a viewer like we are, that's another but a good thing. I love what I see.
Yeah. Oh!
Wow, Eric Jones and Matt DiBenedetto got squirreled up there.
Well, we've seen how aggressive Ross Chastain is to block that. You know, when he gets the lead, he's trying to block both those lines and that run from coming. He tried to block Eric Jones right there, and man, that was almost a disaster.
But then he got right back up there and found another block and stayed with a car behind him, and Brad Keselowski, pretty heads up spotting and driving right there.
We're inside, 20 to go, side by side. Quinn Houff up and into the wall has brought the caution out for the 6th time today. And that kind of stacked up the field, as you will see here. Some already with a bit of damage, and here's the big accordion effect.
Man, how lucky was Matt DiBenedetto and Brad Keselowski.
And keep going, Bubba. Kyle.
Yeah, and all of them behind. Yeah, so clearly those guys, they see up ahead that Quinn Houff had blown a right front tire, was slowing down. That's all it takes is just to check up the slightest bit. Thank goodness he stayed up against the wall. That would have taken out all of our leaders.
Well, Larry, we missed it by 1 lap on the trends. We tried to get you in there just before that happened, but it didn't quite work. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, we've got 26 drivers on the lead lap, and in those that were real close on fuel, these cautions will get them there. If you're up inside the top 8 or 10, stay out and stay out of the eye of the storm. You got a few of them coming, though.
A lot of them.
Jamie.
Interesting different scenarios. The 21 said we're staying out. The 43 of Eric Jones, we're staying out, but Brad Keselowski opted to come in and get some tires here, as well as a whole bunch of them, including the 24 William Byron. Regan.
Well, the 20 of Christopher Bell, you see him headed to his pit stop. The decision was to go ahead and pit and take 4 tires. He likes that race car better with 4 tires compared to anything else, and they needed a little bit more fuel.
So the fuel conversation was one thing, right? But that tells me, Jeff, that these things are a handful for these drivers. They want those 4 new tires so they have the grip level to do what they need to do at the end of this thing.
Because they know it's getting ready to get dicey. They're going to have to make some big moves left and right and aggressive. And I want all the grip I can get. Plus, I wouldn't mind having some more fuel, get that spoiler down.
15 laps to go in the Geico 500. Welcome back to Talladega, where Eric Jones leads. The first 10 drivers did not stop on this caution. Only 3 of them have ever been to victory lane in a NASCAR Cup race. The impact of the pandemic on youth sports has been significant. Visit goodsports.org and learn how you can help Fox Sports and Good Sports restore play for at-risk youth and the programs that serve them through donations of brand new sports equipment. "11 times in its history, Talladega has produced a first-time NASCAR Cup winner." Number 12 today?
I think it's very possible. And certainly it's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. Do you want track position right now with inside 15 to go, or do you want 4 fresh tires? I want tires because I'm getting ready to get after it. I'm getting crazy. I'm going to be pushing, shoving. I'm going to do everything I can to be super aggressive to try to get to the front, and we all know what that creates.
Oh, yeah, but then you got Eric Jones, just like you said, first-time winner. You've got Matty D that needs a win. All these guys up there, they're on old tires, going to be massive blocks. Ross Chastain, we've seen him blocking, being very aggressive. And guess what? Who you're blocking? Those guys back there with 4 fresh fuel goods back there. So this is a recipe for disaster that we're looking for.
And excitement for us.
Yes or no? Are we done with cautions?
No.
I had to ask. It's my job.
This thing's going overtime.
Jamie.
Well, Eric Jones, our leader right now, had a clear-cut plan coming in. He told me, I'm going to ride around in the back as long as possible, then slowly make my way to the front. He said, look, our big picture right now, pointing into the playoffs, is basically a long shot. We must win, and today is the day and our best opportunity to get it done with his new team this year, by the way.
Richard Petty Motorsports. Yep.
Mike, I have numbers that say we are not through with cautions.
Thank
I went
you, Larry
back and looked at the last 8 Talladega races, spring and fall, since we've been stage racing. The average of the last caution, lap 185, 3 laps to go. 7 of those 8 happened in the final 10 laps. And oh, by the way, 4 overtime finishes, including both races last year.
All right. Throw another log on that fire. We are likely.
You brought it up, Mike. You brought it up.
It's the same reason I've had my eye on this camper down here and the folks, how they started the race and where they went through there. I've just been watching them. You know where they're at right now? Right back on top of it, ready to watch the end of this thing.
All right. 13 laps to go. That's not yours, is it, Clint?
No, but it's exactly like the one that they won for 25,000. It's Joe's new camper right there. That's whose it is.
All right, getting set for the restart. Ryan Preece will start in the back. His team was over the wall too soon. The same thing happened to the same team on lap 25.
Money stops. You cannot afford to make mistakes right then. Going to have to dig himself out of a hole here big time.
The end of stage 1 with Joey Logano flipping and flying and Bubba Wallace having to literally drive through it. End of stage 2. Brad Keselowski comes up to block, and Mark Truex gets in the back of Denny Hamlin, and they both receive damage, but both are able to continue. So now 27 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Newman, the first of those, 1 lap down. 4 cars a lap down. And out of the race, Quinn Houff from this most recent caution. Alex Bowman with crash damage from the wreck at lap 119. Joey Logano, as you saw, and Kyle Larson completed only 4 laps.
Okay, Mike. Now I have to admit, when I first started up here coming in the booth, I was a little bit nervous, right? But there is no more nerves and that feeling of what these guys are feeling right now coming to the green with 13 to go. Jeff, you felt it. You pull them belts down as tight as possible. There's no feeling like this in the world.
Every lap you run is like the last lap of this race from this point forward.
Big crowd on hand. Biggest one we've had.
Push, push, push.
Since the pandemic. And here we go with Eric Jones and Matt DiBenedetto and Ross Chastain all trying for their first win.
You keep an eye on the front watching these big blocks, and then you keep your other eye on around that 2 car. Brad Keselowski, that's where these 4 tires are going to be coming, and they're going to be coming hard.
Keselowski restarted 11th.
Some aggressive pushing happening right there. Ross Chastain to the rear bumper of the 43, but look at Matt DiBenedetto getting a run to the outside.
Three lanes.
Remember how we saw those the telemetry of some guys lifting to save fuel? Ain't nobody lifting now. From here all the way out, nobody's lifting.
Remember, the double yellow line rule is in play. You cannot go below that line to advance your position. You cannot push somebody below the line to keep them from advancing.
Well, that outside lane has just really formed a lot of momentum.
And Keselowski has fought his way to 5th from 11th on the restart.
Yeah, and he's got a teammate. So you got Matt DiBenedetto up front leading this race, and then you got 2 other Penske cars.
But look
right
what
there
happened.
In 4th and 5th.
Sorry, look what happened to the 43 of Eric Jones and Ross Chastain. Those guys on those old tires out there, they got swallowed up by the guys who were able to make the moves on them 4 tires and get the track position on him. But here, you can't count him out, right? Now desperation sets in. If you're an Eric Jones, if you're any of those guys on them old tires, you see him right there. He's moving around a lot, trying to make those blocks, has his hands full.
Yeah, McDowell's not following anybody right now. He's just making passes every chance he can get. Oh, here comes Blaney to the outside of Kyle Busch.
With a teammate pushing.
And Ross Chastain's thinking about it. He was thinking about going to that outside lane. There's that big push. You heard Brad Keselowski never check up.
The 42 at Chastain was on that left rear hard.
Oh, Matt Benedetto. That's exactly what I was talking about. He's searching for these guys with that Penske alliance.
And now the three of them are all lined up on the high side.
Oh, all 5 Fords on that outside lane. How about Truex? Truex was in that accident that we talked about, the end of stage 2 with Denny Hamlin. He's up here leading that inside lane.
It's a great point for sure. Thought he was down and out. And that's what you love about this race. You just never know. You got to battle through adversity. Get yourself to the end.
Alfredo got to the inside of Bubba Wallace. Went below that yellow line. Not sure if he was forced there.
Eric Jones caught in the middle, and he's going to back up. Along with Almirola and Custer.
4 Fords right there out front. It's going to be hard to handle.
8 to go.
Look for Kevin Harvick. Kind of had a quiet, sneaky quiet race so far, but he's in position. He's one that I got my eye on for sure.
Now only 4 of the top 10 have never visited Victory Lane, and they include the 96 of Harrison Burton in his Cup debut, running 9th.
Kind of getting this outside line formed, be able to formulate it long enough and get away from them. Pack's breaking up, which is fine. 8 laps is still a lot of racing. Somebody's going to make a move. They're going to formulate a line on that bottom, force these guys' hand to pull down and make a block.
You know, we talked to some drivers all this week and talked about, do you want to be the leader on that last lap where Matt DiBenedetto is? And most of them said, no, you're a sitting duck if you're that leader on that last lap.
Martin Truex has dropped to the back of the pack, believes he has a left rear tire going down.
Oh, no.
The drivers that did not pit, Bubba Wallace has fallen to 10th, Kaz Grala to 12th, Eric Jones to 14th, Tyler Reddick to 17th, Ross Chastain to 18th.
Boy, the back of the car is just way down on the racetrack.
Shock mount or something. Way it was down like that. I agree.
Truex to pit road.
Unless the right rear's down. Right rear's down. Not the left rear, it's the right rear. That's what it is.
Well, he got it off track and out of harm's way.
Good job, Martin.
They will change tires, send him back out. They're going to come to 5 to go this time.
Well, we saw this play out Daytona, right? We saw Penske drivers leading this thing on the last lap, and they had the meeting with Roger Penske. I don't know what went on in that meeting, but we're about to find out.
If it works or not, right? I don't know where he's at. I think he's at the other race, strategizing the Indy race, but I promise you he's taking a break out of that and is watching these cars, praying the same thing doesn't happen to the Daytona 500.
Remember what Joey Logano said after that Daytona crash. He said right now there's 400 Penske employees wondering where their Daytona 500 bonus is. It's in a ball of fire and wreck in turn 3.
Well,
this will
certainly
today
have
be
another
different.
chance at a bonus right here. For sure.
Pretty impressed with this inside lane led by William Byron, how they're able to somewhat keep pace by running that shorter lane around the bottom.
If they can continue to build cars on that line, you get up there, you start getting a track position, and you force.
That's not going to help right now. Bubba goes to the outside of the 42. That's going to stall that whole lane out.
I didn't understand that move.
And Jeff, on that 24 car, Rudy Fugel brought him to pit road, but they split the difference. They went with just 2 fresh tires on that 24 car.
Martin Truex limping around the tri-oval, a lot of smoke from his car. The right rear has come off it and rolled out onto the racetrack. Caution. Just what we didn't need.
What did I say about this thing going to overtime, Mike?
I think that would be 4 to go. I missed it by 1 lap.
Close counts, Larry. All right, lap 185, 7th caution flag. Tire coming apart on Martin Truex, who came by and kind of surprisingly didn't take that car to pit road, but not going to ride it out. And when this is lying out in the middle of the racetrack, you don't want to come along here at 200 miles an hour. Ryan Newman gets the free pass, so he'll get back on the lead lap. So we're going to have a 2-lap shootout. Anybody want tires?
I'm not giving up track position at this stage.
No. Yeah, I think if you're up near the front, your bed is made. You're going to have to lay down in it. Now, if you're back there like Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace that was fading, why not? You know, come get 4.
Well, and you already showed it, right? We didn't take 4 tires the last time. They did. They're in position to win the race. We've got to try to get a handle on that. You know, again, we say all hell's going to break loose at the end of this thing. They get 3 wide. Somebody, an untimely block or anything else, jumbles that up. That's your opportunity to drive right up through the middle of them and get track position.
But here's a chance for fellows like Eric Jones, who you just saw, who didn't get tires on the last caution, and you saw how it hurt him. Ross Chastain, and a bunch of them fell to the back.
But you got Eric Jones in 11th spot. That's right there on the edge of still decent track position. But if you come in, you could go all the way back to 25th or 6th. And I don't know how many are going to come, obviously, but I just think that's almost giving up too much track position for those 4 Goodyear tires.
Pit road is open. Let's see what happens.
Of course, at the same time, this might not be our only attempt at this.
Well, there is that.
You know, this whole race I've been talking about, you know, didn't see a whole lot of organizationally, you know, helping one another with teammates manufacturer-wise. Now you see 6 of those Fords in a row. What Custer's in 10th, that's 6 of the top 10. Pretty strong.
Jamie.
Bubba Wallace, I think he listened to Larry Mack, said, why not come right now and get some tires? He was 17th when he brought it in. Take right side tires and put just enough fuel in to make it here to the end. Regan.
Well, the plan was for Kyle Busch to watch the cars behind them. The call was to pit. I think they believed maybe a few more cars would come with them. He's been pretty happy with this race car all day long. Not a lot of complaints, just wants the 4 tires for the last run here.
So the problem for them is they are the only 2 cars that pitted. They will restart, to Jeff's point, 25th and 26th on new tires. 186 laps complete, and it has been a very eventful day here at Talladega. We were almost to the end of stage number 1. And Joey Logano went airborne, came down on Bubba Wallace.
And you know, I thought that car got turned to the left. I was wrong. It just got turned so fast to the right that the air packed under the rear bumper and got that car airborne.
Joey was okay. Matt DiBenedetto was the winner of stage 1. Denny Hamlin picked up speeding penalties, too fast entering, couldn't get his car woed, and then on the penalty pass down pit road was penalized again for the same thing.
Wow, such a near miss right there. Great driving by both of those cars. Matty D and Kyle Busch was bent way out of shape.
And here are the end of stage 2.
That's just one of those ones you scratch your head and say, why?
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Bubba Wallace won the stage as Hamlin was not able to get back on the lead lap.
It's Talladega, right, guys?
So here we are 2 cautions later, one for Quinn Houff and this one for the tire off Martin Truex's car. And we're going to overtime. That is the early logo of the Glenwood Company. Glenn, Leonard, Delano, Clay. I'm missing one. I think there were 5 Wood brothers. initially running that little team out of Stewart, Virginia, with family and friends.
That's what I see. Look at this, 99 career. If he could punch their ticket to 100 wins, man, that would be an awesome story for the Wood brothers.
Well, and I think this overtime scenario might play out in his favor, because when they were just lined up single file, it's just so hard for them not to get a big run and get organized and back away from you. It's still going to be really hard for Matt DiBenedetto to control this all the way to the end. What you hope is you get the lead, you take the white flag, and they start racing behind you.
That's
what
exactly what, yep.
Ray Lee was the other Wood brother.
I knew you'd figure it out.
Hey, we're going to Kansas next week. We're going to Clint's place.
The NASCAR Cup Series blows into Kansas.
Grandma, put your teeth in your pocketbook for this one.
It is going to be crazy.
The Heartland will be home to the best drivers as we gear up for a return to a mile-and-a-half oval. That brings lots of action.
One car hard into the fence.
Big crash.
A vicious crash on the back straightaway.
The action begins with race day, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific.
Going to the Great Plains.
Cannot wait to get out there and get some of that barbecue.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you got in store for us in your hometown?
A bunch. That's what's so cool about that place, man. The barbecue, the legends, everything, that happened. Watching you win. Literally, I watched him win the first race at Kansas Speedway on top of an old Winnebago.
Don't say how old you are, though. Don't do that.
I was about 12.
Great racetrack, though. Love going there.
So NASCAR's version of overtime is a 2-lap shootout. If the leader takes the white flag under green, the next flag, yellow or checker, will end the race. If there's a caution prior to the leader getting the white flag, we will try it again and again and again if necessary.
All right,
and that's exactly why I always say, all right, the question is, hunter or the hunted? What do you want to be? You want to be that leader? You want to be those guys that are coming down and have that big push and those options? I'm going with the guy in the lead. That's what I want to be. I always want to lead every lap. And the reason is, if that caution comes out just like you said, you're the winner.
And I hear you, and I picked DiBenedetto. I'm hoping that Wood brothers get that 100th win. But, Mike, I think you've got some data for us about what happens when you're the leader in the last lap here.
Oh, no, I'm pulling this out of my hip pocket the same as you are. But I think if the 3 Penske cars line up together, keep your eye on Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
He has no such alliance.
That's a good point.
Hey,
well, I did pick Brad.
We know Michael McNeil knows how to get it done.
How about this guy?
Man, you want to talk about a guy
that
knew
is
this
awesome
place.
Car. That's the Monte Carlo Aero Coupe. Look at that back window. They added that to the Monte Carlo to combat those slick T-birds that Bill Elliott and all ran during the day.
It's been such a fun weekend. You see cars like that out by the museum. We saw Smokey and the Bandits. You see that semi out there, the snowman's truck? Man, what an awesome display they had out there. Love coming here.
So you got that inside lane. DiBenedetto, our leader, is going to be the control car. Keselowski, McDowell. I mean, those are 2 guys that I'd like having right on my rear bumper pushing me. Just hope they stay there.
Could you imagine how big this win would be for him, Roush Racing? Chris Buschard right there.
He's done a great, solid job all day long, just being right there in the mix, staying out of trouble.
3 of Brad Keselowski's 5 wins here have come on a last lap pass. Oh, by the way, and 4 of the last 5 drivers to win for the Wood brothers, it was their first career win.
Well, boy, that'd be a popular one. Matty D just does a great job connecting with the fans and just putting his heart out there, of how much passion he has for this race team and for his career.
35% of seats sold, and nobody is sitting in them. Fans on their feet. It's Credit One overtime.
You can certainly see what happens if you jump out of line too quick. Harrison Burton went straight to the bottom, or to the back.
And those guys in that outside lane are trying to get 3 wide, still trying to get 3 and 4 wide. What lane do you pick, Matty D? I know it's a tough call because that 12 is to your outside.
He's got help from Keselowski.
Oh,
they are
broke
linked
apart.
up tightly. And what happened to Harvick?
Don't get out too far here.
He broke away from that 12 car. Yeah, if you're Matty D, you don't want to get too far up front, but you hope those guys stay side by side behind you as you take the white flag.
That's what he wants to see right now. 4 wide through the tri-oval mid-pack. White flag in the air. Next flag ends the race.
Oh, no, Matty
He
D
gave
went
up on
high.
his plan. Now you got Brad Keselowski's got the heck of a push on the back of him.
The man with the plan, Brad Keselowski, has Michael McDowell in tow, and then Kevin Harvick.
Here comes a big run from the 8. Tyler Reddick's. Oh, but he's not going to push the 12 there. That's going to do it for Brad Keselowski on that inside lane. I'm not saying he's got the win. Now the 34 and the 4 got to get lined up. Look at Eric Jones.
Mile and a half to go.
We talked about right there.
That Jones boy up into 4th.
Kevin Harvick with a run.
Chris Buescher back there. He's wrecking. He's in the wall.
Big run.
17 in the wall,
McDowell.
but here they come.
What's McDowell going to do?
Down to the finish. 1 car turned in the fence. Keselowski, the leader. To the outside comes McDowell, and Brad Keselowski wins Talladega as 1 car goes sliding, spinning, slamming into the inside wall.
Man, that was wild. Looks like a left rear tire went down on Eric Jones. Big impact with the left front of Chastain into that safer barrier past the start-finish line.
Everybody, Professor, you call me. Did a hell of a job right here. Yes, you did, brother. That was awesome. Great job, man.
35th career win for Keselowski. He won at Richmond last fall. First one of the season, another different winner.
Yeah, I had a chance to go and do an interview with him this week leading into this race and just pick his brain a little bit on his process, his thoughts of this. It's unbelievable how it just played out almost exactly the way that man said.
All right, we got a lot to unpack here. Turn 3.
Well, I mean, they're wrecking behind. You get see that Chris Buescher gets in the wall, but a big run was coming from a push from William Byron to the 34 McDowell as they're still spinning and wrecking into the wall. Eric Jones. But the race was not over. The caution was not out. I think, you know, this is going to be one that Matty D is going to want to have over because he moved up to block that outside lane, come to take the white flag, and the run was coming on the inside from Keselowski.
But the run that McDowell had right there with the help of William Byron, I think was going to be the right recipe, but he moved up so hard because he was catching Keselowski that he lost contact with William Byron and they broke up, lost his momentum. I think he had the right timing, one, and I think he had the right push to get it done. It just, you know, didn't materialize behind him.
So let's show you how that pack of Fords came undone.
And again, your spotter's giving you all this information and trying to tell you where the run is coming. And Matt feels like, okay, that outside lane is coming. Here's Chris Buescher. He's going to go push the 12. So that's what Matty D did to try to block that. Unfortunately, the bigger run was coming from Michael McDowell to the rear bumper of Brad Keselowski.
And it happened in the blink of an eye. All that materialized in the back with McDowell at the same time that run was coming on the outside. Hey, and it's a split decision. Do I go up and block that run like he's saying is coming, or do I stay with what I know is coming with Brad Keselowski? Unfortunately, just made the wrong decision.
191 laps of racing today. Brad Keselowski led 1 lap.
Only one that counts. We've been there. We've done it. And I don't think it's the first time he's won on the final lap pass either here at Talladega.
But I also, and I take it back to the decision that Matty D had on his plate. I don't think Brad Keselowski wins this race had he not pulled up there and made that block on the outside.
I mean,
you're right.
Yeah. No,
who knows what's going to happen there? A lot happens, a lot of racing left, a lot of real estate on the track. But that was a pretty monumental, you know, decision right there, and one you have to take. If you're going to win these races, that's a gutsy decision that you have to take. I'm not faulting Matty D for what he did, but I think that's the reason that Brad Keselowski's in the victory lane.
And here's Jamie with Matt DiBenedetto.
Matt DiBenedetto led 28 laps today. Matt, once again, oh, so close. When you look back at that final move and you drop to the outside, would you do it all over again?
Oh, man. You can say that after every one of these races, you know. It's tough. It's just also circumstantial. We talked about it a lot before the race, Jamie, and it's tough. Our day will come. Our day will come. I'm just lucky to drive this thing. Have the support from everybody, fans. They are so awesome. Driving for the Wood Brothers it really is a dream come true. It's hard to come so close, so many of these things, but the Fords are so fast. They believe in me. The whole Ford camp, they do an excellent job. The Mustangs are great. Motorcraft, Quick Lane, Menards, and all our vendor partners. I mean, I say this because all these people, I mean, believed in me, and I love what I do, and our day will come. We'll get there. Just appreciate the support from everybody.
Thanks, Matt. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. Keselowski, the winner. William Byron second. Michael McDowell, Kevin Harvick, and Kaz Gralla, the top 5. DiBenedetto sixth. Reddick, Dylan Blaney, and Custer, the top 10. Here's Regan.
Brad Keselowski saluting the fans one more time. Your patented American flag victory celebration. Brad, you only led 1 lap today. It was really the only lap that mattered, though. What were you thinking when the bottom opened up on that last lap?
Merry Christmas, Regan. You know, man, what an awesome day today to bring Moneyline home, Ford Mustang into victory lane. Just, you know, the whole race had a couple opportunities to take the lead, but I just kept thinking, man, just keep your car in one piece for the end. And you know, we've been so close here, Regan. It just didn't seem to want to come together here the last few years. And I've been on kind of a 4-year drought here, but it's nice to get number 6. I would have never dreamed I'd have tied Jeff Gordon or Darren Hart Jr. here. That's something, man. Those guys are really legends. So just really proud of my team. We had accident there early, and they recovered and got it fixed up to where I could keep running. And my crew chief, Jeremy Bowens, he had a lot of confidence. I told him, I want to come in and put 4 tires on this thing. He said, yep, go ahead. And that really helped a bunch at the end. And other than that, I'm just so excited. My daughters and my wife are here. They're in the motorhome a lot, so I don't know if they'll get to come to victory lane, but they finally got to see Daddy win, so that's pretty cool.
You got coming down the front straightaway, your spotter Coleman Presley telling you all the perfect moves to make. Were you aware how big the run they had at that point was?
Oh yeah, I saw it coming. I was like, oh God, please, just if I can just get to this line. Couldn't they just put it on the other side like Daytona? But no, it was that's their job. Everybody's just racing hard, pushing hard, and that's Talladega.
Nicely done, Brad. Congrats.
Thanks, buddy.
35th career win for Brad, 131st for Team Penske. 3rd Penske win of the season and 10th here at Talladega. All coming in the last 19 races here. A wild day, a wild finish. We'll sort it out for you after this. You're watching Fox NASCAR at Talladega.